Chapter 612. Yes, we're almost there. The red-clothed girl turned her head and smiled, coming back to her senses. Everyone, be careful. This place doesn't seem normal. An old man spoke, and the person who was sitting cross-legged suddenly stood up. The old man looked like he was in his 60s. He was dressed in plain clothes, and his back was slightly hunched. He had a slightly wrinkled face, and his eyes were shining brightly. "Uncle Guan, what did you find?" The girl in red turned around and looked at the old man with a pair of clear and bright eyes. She looked at the old man with respect. "Miss, there's the aura of a barbaric beast here. It's very strong." The old man spoke as he looked around. His eyes were shining and his expression was serious. "Everyone, be careful." The girl in red immediately became alert. Her curves were exquisite under her red clothes. Her dress swayed slightly. At this moment, she was on the back of a barbaric beast. She looked even more charming and arrogant. Oh, suddenly, the roars of many beasts were getting closer and closer. Suddenly, many barbaric beasts rose into the air from all directions. In an instant, many large barbaric beasts rose into the air. Their fierce eyes were frightening. In front of these large beasts, there was a red light, and a middle-aged man with long red hair appeared. This middle-aged man was dressed in yellow and had a red cloak that fluttered in the wind. There were secret runes that looked like armor and scales on it. His aura was powerful and frightening. When this middle-aged man appeared, the temperature in the air suddenly rose. It made one's skin burn, and vitality rose in one's body. It was difficult to breathe. Demon Emperor Realm. The old man's expression changed as he looked at the red-haired middle-aged man in the air. "Are they all humans?" The red-haired middle-aged man's gaze swept across the group. His red eyes were shining, and his aura was frightening. If Su-Yi was here, he would be able to tell that this red-haired middle-aged man was none other than the Blazing Dragon Emperor. "We are from the Saint Mountain." "Sir, please step back." The old man looked at the red-haired middle-aged man, and his expression changed. However, his expression soon returned to normal. As a member of the Saint Mountain, not everyone dared to provoke them. "So what if you're from the Sacred Mountain?" "Don't threaten me. I'm a demon emperor of the demonic beasts. Why would I be afraid of your Sacred Mountain?" The Blazing Dragon Emperor glanced at him. For some unknown reason, he seemed to be in a bad mood. After he spoke, his figure had already broken through the air like a ghost and directly appeared in front of the plain-looking old man. "Chi-La." The claw reached out, as if tearing through the void, bringing with it a sea of crimson fire that filled the sky. "You guys go first. I'll find you later." The old man's expression changed drastically. At the same time, he condensed a handprint. Instead of retreating, he advanced. His figure instantly turned into a blurry shadow. He clenched his fist, and it seemed to distort the void. With a sharp gust of wind, he directly collided with the old man's claw. Bang! A low muffled sound rang out. The void trembled, and terrifying winds swept outwards. "Listen to Uncle Guan. Let's retreat quickly." A burly man on the back of the flying brute beast spoke. "Goo!" The bird screeched as its aura erupted. It immediately left at lightning speed. "Oh, whoa!" Seeing this, several large barbaric beasts roared and immediately chased after them. "Evil beast, the Sacred Mountain is not something you can provoke." Seeing that the red-clothed girl and the others had already left, the old man's expression immediately sank. The aura that erupted from his slightly hunched body was incomparably terrifying. It was not much weaker than the Blazing Dragon Emperor. "Oomph!" The Blazing Dragon Emperor snorted. His gaze was gloomy. A powerful, blazing aura, accompanied by a terrifying, baleful aura, suddenly burst out. His figure was like a crimson light as he directly shot towards the old man. "Evil beast, how dare you?" The old man's expression was cold. His eyes flickered as he watched the crimson figure rapidly approaching. He directly slapped out with his hand, condensing a handprint that seemed to carry the energy of heaven and earth. "Insignificant human!" The Blazing Dragon Emperor roared. A crimson light swept out like a raging flame, accompanied by a baleful aura that enveloped half of the void. The two fists collided, and blazing energy spread out in all directions. Bang! The two collided, and the light was resplendent. The sky rumbled like thunder, and an unparalleled force suddenly burst out. The blazing aura swept out like a storm, like a sun rising in the night sky, illuminating the barbaric demon forest. The old man was forced back, but the blazing dragon emperor did not seem to have the upper hand. The blazing dragon emperor staggered as his expression darkened. It seemed that he did not expect the former to be so powerful. His eyes slightly sunk, and his body flew out once again. At the same time, a blazing aura swept out as if the world was on fire. The raging flames spread out and covered the void. Oh, in an instant, the blazing dragon emperor transformed into his true form, a dragon that was dozens of feet long and then stretched across the void. Walala! The flames around the blazing dragon emperor's huge body were like waves that drowned his body. His crimson eyes were like volcanoes, and there were clusters of flames dancing on his head. So, it's a blazing dragon. Looking at the blazing dragon emperor's true form, the old man's gaze trembled fiercely. Oh, the dragon roared like thunder, and the scales on the blazing dragon emperor's body opened up. A pair of crimson wings flapped, and flames erupted like a volcano, sweeping out in all directions. In a flash, he took advantage of the situation, and his body soared into the sky, once again launching an attack. Oomph. The old man's gaze turned serious, and at the same time, a terrifying aura erupted from his body. An invisible pressure spread out from the void, colliding with the blazing dragon emperor. Human die. The blazing dragon emperor seemed to be especially angry today. With a flap of his wings, his body suddenly turned around and swooped down. Monstrous flames surged out from his body and formed a wave of fire that enveloped the old man with a force that could topple mountains and overturn seas. The blazing wave of fire covered half of the sky, and the intense heat caused the surrounding void to emit white smoke. This high temperature caused the old man's expression to change. Swish! In a monstrous wave of fire, the blazing dragon emperor's huge dragon body was faintly discernible. A flaming claw distorted the void and enveloped the old man. The old man's face completely sank. He formed a hand seal, and his body was wrapped in light. A vast aura soared into the sky, and a terrifying aura directly blocked the blazing dragon emperor. Oh, the beasts roared like thunder, and there were brute demon beasts everywhere. Retreat quick! Loud shouts and muffled collisions rang out. Many figures were surrounded, and they were fiercely fighting with a group of brute demon beasts. Swish! A ferocious brute demon beast opened its bloody mouth and bit a person to pieces. Blood flowed out from its fangs, causing people to tremble in fear. Roar! A huge beast roared, and its huge hoof fell down. A person was trampled into meat paste, and blood spurted out from under the huge beast's hoof. Run quick! Screams and shouts continued, and the remaining figures retreated in panic. Chapter 613. Early in the morning, the silhouettes of the mountain peaks emerged from the darkness. Thousands of mountains began to awaken, and the morning clouds began to rise. The streets of Barbarian City began to be filled with vitality. Guji, outside Barbarian City, a gigantic flying barbaric beast flapped its wings and arrived. It stirred up a gust of wind, causing the forest below to undulate. Several figures stood on top of it. Who is that? Someone on the city wall saw the approaching figure and immediately prepared for battle. The gigantic flying barbaric beast circled and appeared outside Barbarian City in an instant. Several figures stood there. They were all quite young. Their robes fluttered in the wind, and their temperaments were extraordinary. The oldest one was only a middle-aged beauty. Her eyes were glowing, and her aura was inexplicably dignified. The one in the lead was a red-clothed girl. She was incomparably beautiful. She was young, but her figure was already peerless. The young lady is back. Quickly report to the patriarch that the young lady is back. On the city wall, the disciples of the Liu clan were overjoyed when they saw the red-clothed girl. They were inexplicably excited. The celestial-like newcomer and the fairy-like young lady was none other than the eldest daughter of the Lu family, Lu Ruashi. Whoosh! Lu Ruashi's eyes flickered as she looked at Barbarian City. She then jumped down from the back of the flying barbaric beast. Her graceful figure's robes fluttered slightly. Two streaks of red yuan qi were visible to the naked eye from the soles of Lu Ruashi's feet. They were like two clouds of fire. Lu Ruashi's body glided down like a falling leaf with the help of the impact force. She landed gracefully in front of Barbarian City's gate. Her moving figure was peerless. Many people on the city wall were dumbfounded when they saw this scene. They were not only shocked by her amazing strength, but also by her stunning figure. Her beautiful figure was like a fairy who had descended to the mortal world. Seeing Lu Ruashi jump down from the back of the flying barbaric beast, several figures followed suit. Each of them had a stunning figure. When the city gate opened, the people of the Lu clan immediately came out to welcome them. The mounts of the Lu clan were already waiting for them. Lu Ruashi jumped onto the Lu clan's mount. She nodded slightly at the surrounding gazes and rode away. Miss Lu Ruashi is back. Is that Miss Lu Ruashi? The Lu clan's mount passing through Barbarian City caused a commotion. The news of Lu Ruashi's return to Barbarian City had spread like wildfire. Many people rushed out of the streets to catch a glimpse of her. She was the first girl in the Barbarian City to be able to enter a holy land like the Holy Mountain to cultivate. She was also highly valued by the Holy Mountain and was the pride of the entire Barbarian City. So beautiful. She's getting more and more moving. Is she a heavenly maiden? She's too beautiful. Too beautiful. It's a pity that Su-Yi won't have such good fortune. Lower your voice. Even if Su-Yi was still alive, I'm afraid he wouldn't be worthy of such a heavenly girl. Barbarian City was abuzz with discussion. This type of heavenly girl caused an uproar. Outside the main gate of the Lu family, the family head, Lu Zongyuan, and a group of relatives were already waiting outside. This is the pride of our Lu family. The elders and experts of the Lu clan were all extremely excited when they saw the woman in a fiery red robe flying towards them. Lu Ruashi was the pride of the Lu clan. Father, Lu Ruashi's graceful figure jumped down from her mount and bowed in front of Lu Zongyuan. There was a smile in her eyes, and it was incomparably moving. This was the family she had missed the most in these 3 years. Good girl, you've grown taller and more beautiful. You're indeed my daughter. Lu Zongyuan smiled, his heart surging with joy. Some of the Lu family members came forward to welcome the disciples of the Holy Mountain. Too beautiful. I reckon her strength must have reached an astonishing level. I'm afraid no one in the Barbarian City is worthy of such a heavenly girl. It's said that Su-Yi has already died. Otherwise, there would be a chance. After all, this marriage was originally agreed upon by Old Master Su and the Lu clan. What kind of joke is this? Even if Su-Yi is still alive, with his current status, how could he be worthy of Miss Lu Ruashi? I heard that in the Holy Mountain, Miss Lu Ruashi is also a disciple that is heavily nurtured. Discussions were everywhere. Lu Ruashi's return immediately became the topic of discussion in the entire Barbarian City. So what if it's the Holy Mountain? Wasn't that Ji Chao also defeated by Su-Yi? Some people also felt injustice for Su-Yi. They still remembered Su-Yi. Back then, that Ji Chao from the Holy Mountain did not put the entire Barbarian City in his eyes. In the end, it was Su-Yi who appeared and defeated him, letting him know that the Barbarian City was not a place that anyone could bully. First seat. Speaking of which, although Su-Yi, that brat, was naughty and mischievous in the past, when he defeated that Ji Chao from the Holy Mountain, he was really valiant. Someone said, the scene back then was still vivid in his mind. Now that he thought about it, he felt extremely relieved. Lu family, the quiet courtyard. Let father take a look at my precious daughter. You've grown so tall and more beautiful. You're as beautiful as your mother. Lu Zongyin looked at his daughter in front of him, his heart filled with joy. It was as if he could not see enough. Father, your praise is making your daughter embarrassed. Lu Ruashi smiled. Her eyes were clear and bright like the stars. Her every movement seemed to overflow with spirituality. I'm speaking the truth, not praising. Lu Zongyuan smiled. The daughter in front of him was his pride. He then asked, "You've only just returned. How long do you plan to stay? You should accompany father for a period of time." "I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint father. It wasn't easy for me to ask the sect to allow me to come back and visit my family. At most in a few days, I'll have to leave and prepare to participate in the sacred martial assembly." Lu Ruashi shook her head. She was also very reluctant to leave. Her cheeks were slightly flushed, and her lips were like orchids. Her skin was like frost and snow, as if it could be broken by the slightest breeze. Her figure was peerless. "So it's like this, Sai. In the blink of an eye, you've grown so big. I'm afraid the number of times I can see you will become less and less. If that's the case, I'm really regretting letting you go to the Holy Mountain." Lu Zongyuan was somewhat disappointed. "All right, father. After your daughter becomes an expert, I'll definitely take more time to accompany you." Lu Ruashi intimately held her father's arm and said coquettishly. There was an astonishing beauty between her brows that surpassed her age. "All right, it's not like father doesn't understand. With your talent, your heaven and earth is no longer in the Lu family, nor is it in the barbarian city. In the future, the entire Lu family, the entire barbarian city, will have to rely on you." Lu Zongyuan faintly smiled. He was reluctant in his heart, but he understood that there were some things that he could not do. He could only place his hopes on his daughter. "Patriarch, it's not good, it's not good." There was a hurried voice, as if something big had happened. A figure hurried over, his expression anxious. "What happened?" Lu Zongyuan's expression darkened. A moment later, in the great hall of the Lu family. Chapter 614. In the hall, the two middle-aged experts of the Lu clan were in a sorry state. Their faces were pale, and there were traces of blood on their bodies. They had formed a team to investigate outside the city and encountered a large number of savage beasts. Only a few of them were able to escape. "A large number of savage beasts. What is going on?" Lu Zongyuan muttered with a serious expression. It was definitely not a good thing for so many savage beasts to gather outside the barbarian city. In addition to the recent movements outside the barbarian city, it seemed that something big was going to happen. "Uncles, quickly take the pills." Lu Ruashi stepped forward and handed 2 healing pills to the 2 burly men. "Thank you, Mississippi." The 2 men knew that the pills were extraordinary just by looking at them. "Father, when we returned this time, we also encountered savage beasts in the barbarian demon forest. We even encountered a demon emperor-level savage beast. I don't know if it is related to this." Lu Ruashi frowned. "Last night, they also encountered danger. Fortunately, they managed to escape quickly. However, before Uncle Guan returned, they encountered a demon emperor-level expert. A demon emperor-level expert." Hearing this, the people of the Lu clan in the hall trembled and their expressions changed. To the barbarian city, this level was equivalent to a legendary existence. "I hope that it is not related." Lu Zongyuan's expression was incomparably serious. If that demon emperor-level expert was related to the savage beasts that gathered outside the barbarian city, then it would be a disaster for the entire barbarian city. It would be a catastrophe. Could it be the Undying Sect? Suddenly, an old man of the Lu clan spoke. The gaze on his old face fiercely trembled. "Undying Sect." These 3 words caused the expressions of the old men of the Lu clan to change. Lu Zongyuan's gaze also instantly froze. "Father, what is the Undying Sect?" Lu Ruashi asked doubtfully. She had never heard of the Undying Sect. "You don't know because you were not born at that time." Lu Zongyuan regained his senses. His gaze was serious as he said, "Everything started from 20 years ago." Immediately, Lu Ruashi learned from her father that the Undying Sect was a power that was active in the barbarian demon forest. 20 years ago, the enemy that invaded Barbarian City was the Undying Sect. After a bloody battle, blood flowed like a river and corpses were everywhere. At the most dangerous moment, the Su family's old man Su Yuntian led a suicide squad and killed the Undying Sect's invaders on the spot. This intimidated the Undying sect and forced them to retreat. Before the people of the Undying sect left, they said that they would make a comeback one day and take down Man's City. An old man from the Liu clan had a solemn expression. Compared to the Undying sect, Manshang was too weak. Why is the Undying sect so determined to obtain my Man's City? Lu Ruashi narrowed her eyes and revealed a puzzled look. Barbarian City is located at the border. There aren't any special resources there. Since the Undying sect's strength is not bad, why are you eyeing this kind of small border city? This Undying sect is said to be very strange. Its origin is very mysterious, and it has existed for a long time. It has always existed in the barbaric demon forest, but it has never been too active. It comes and goes without a trace. An expert from the Liu clan said they had investigated the Undying sect before, but what they knew was limited. The Undying sect existed in the barbaric demon forest, but there weren't many traces left behind. According to the legends of the older generation, our Man City has existed for a long time. It is rumored that our Man City also has many mysterious places. Many powers have wanted to get their hands on Man City, but no one has ever succeeded. It is located at a corner of the barbaric demon forest, but under normal circumstances, the barbaric demon beasts would never dare to approach Man City. An old man from the Liu clan said. These were the words of the older generation. Lu Ruashi's eyes moved. Thinking carefully, it was indeed so. At least she could feel that although there were many barbaric demon beasts outside Man City, there had never been any barbaric demon beast that dared to approach Man City. Pass down the order, the whole city is on guard. Lu Zongyuan did not dare to be careless. He ordered people to pass down the order. The whole city must be on guard against the sudden attack of a strong enemy. Uncle Guan should be back soon. With Uncle Guan here, even the Undying sect should not be a problem. Lu Ruashi spoke. Fortunately, Uncle Guan accompanied her this time. With Uncle Guan, the Undying sect should not be a problem. It is fortunate to have an expert from the Sacred Mountain accompanying you. I wonder when that expert will arrive. An old man from the Liu clan asked Lu Ruashi. He saw hope in his heart. With an expert from the Sacred Mountain, if a strong enemy really came to attack Man City this time, there would naturally not be any problems. It should be soon. Lu Ruashi spoke. Although the enemy was a demonic emperor expert, she was clear about Uncle Guan's strength. He should be able to deal with it. However, she did not know when Uncle Guan would be able to shake off the demonic emperor expert and catch up. That's right, Father. I want to go to the Su clan to see Old Master Su Yuntan. After hesitating for a moment, Lu Ruashi raised her eyes and said to Lu Zongyuan, What? Go to the Su clan? Immediately, the expressions of the old men from the Liu clan changed. Go. I heard that the old master is injured. Take some healing pills and send my regards to the old master. Lu Zongyuan nodded and faintly smiled. Isn't this a bit inappropriate? After all, someone spoke out. After all, Lu Ruashi and Su Yi of the Su clan had a rather awkward relationship. Lu Zongyuan waved his hand and said, Su Yi is no longer here. The old master loves Su Yi dearly, so I'm afraid that he is not feeling well. Ruashi go to see the old master is something that should be done. Seeing that Lu Zongyuan had also said this, no one else said anything else. I hope it's not the Undying sect. In the main hall of the Su clan, Su Jingting's expression was grave. The Undying sect doesn't seem to have any methods to control the barbaric demon beasts. This time, we only found barbaric demon beasts, and there seems to be more and more of them gathering. In the main hall, Su Baihan's complexion was pale. There were bloodstains on his body, and he emitted a terrifying, baleful aura. When they went to investigate, they were surrounded by the barbaric demon beasts and lost many people. Only a few people were able to escape. The old master suddenly went into seclusion, so I can't see him. This matter is very serious. I'll go find the city lord and the other great clans to discuss and make preparations in advance, Su Jingting said. Master, this is bad. Outside the main hall, people of the Su clan came in panic. Why are you acting so rashly? What happened? Su Jingting raised his eyes and asked. A few people came, saying that they are disciples of the Sacred Mountain and want to see the master. The person who came said, his expression somewhat panicked. He knew about the relationship between Su Yi and the Sacred Mountain. The old master had even fought with the expert of the Sacred Mountain. Although young Master Su Wei was already a disciple of the Sacred Mountain, he did not know if it was a good thing or a bad thing for the people of the Sacred Mountain to come. Sacred Mountain. Su Jingting and Su Baian heard this, and their expressions changed. Let's welcome them. They hesitated for a moment, as if they had no other choice. Whether it was a good thing or a bad thing, they could not avoid it. A moment later, in the main hall of the Su clan, the old master and relatives of the Su clan were gathered, accompanied by Su Jingting. But sitting at the head of the table was a beautiful middle-aged woman and a few young disciples. Chapter 6:15. Although the young disciples of the Sacred Mountain were only in their 30s, the aura that was faintly discernible from their bodies made the faces of the elders of the Su clan present turn ugly. The young disciples of the Sacred Mountain seemed to be doing it on purpose, secretly releasing their aura to suppress the hall. The beautiful middle-aged woman looked to be in her 40s. Her face was calm, and her temperament was graceful. She was embroidered with a badge on her body. Those who were familiar with her would know that it represented her status as a deacon of the Sacred Mountain. Although a deacon wasn't a very high position in the Sacred Mountain, it was a different position in the outside world. Su Jingting was seated beside her. At this moment, in front of the beautiful middle-aged woman, his expression did not reveal anything, but his heart was quite uneasy. Your son, Su Wei, did well in the Sacred Mountain. Congratulations. After some pleasantries, the beautiful middle-aged woman said to Su Jingting. Her words were very serious. Su Wei had indeed performed well in the Sacred Mountain, which was why she was still being polite. Thank you for your care, Deacon. Thank you for the Sacred Mountain's nurturing. Hearing this, Su Jingting was secretly delighted. Since Su Wei could perform well in the Sacred Mountain, he would have a good future in the future. The elders of the Su clan were also overjoyed. Su Wei was a disciple of the Su clan. If he could perform well in the Sacred Mountain, the Su clan would also be protected in the future. He, Patriarch Su, there's another matter that I want to discuss with the Su clan today. The higher-ups of the Sacred Mountain have personally spoken about this matter. At the mention of the Sacred Mountain's higher-ups, the beautiful middle-aged woman's expression became respectful. Her expression was solemn as she sized Su Jingting up as if she wanted to detect Su Jingting's reaction. Su Jingting's expression changed slightly and turned solemn. How could he not understand the meaning behind the beautiful woman's words? She deliberately mentioned the Sacred Mountain's higher-ups. This was clearly reminding him that a mere substitute patriarch of the Su clan was nothing in front of the Sacred Mountain. Whatever the Sacred Mountain said, it was what it was. Su Jingting's eyes flickered, but his expression remained unchanged. He already had a guess in his heart. Other than Su Wei, who was currently in the Holy Mountain, the Su clan could only be related to Su Yi. It was said that Lu Ruashi had already returned to the barbarian city, and the people from the Holy Mountain had also come to the Su residence. Su Jingting already had an idea in his heart that the purpose of the people from the Holy Mountain was probably related to Su Yi and Lu Ruashi. 1. Oh, please speak, Deacon. If the Sacred Mountain has any instructions, the Su clan will do our best, Su Jingting said. Patriarch Su's words are too serious. I came to the Su family this time to express my apologies. The Su family's disciple, Su Yi, met with misfortune on the way to the Holy Mountain. Our Holy Mountain is also responsible. The beautiful middle-aged woman said faintly. Fortune and misfortune are unpredictable. No one would have expected this to happen. If this is really just an accident, then it's my nephew's good fortune that he didn't manage to ascend the Sacred Mountain. If there's a hidden story behind this matter, Jingting believes that one day the justice of heaven will be able to catch up. Su Jingting said indifferently. Hearing Su Jingting's words, the gazes of everyone present changed. The beautiful middle-aged woman's expression also changed a lot. She looked at Su Jingting and said, Patriarch Su's words seem to imply that Su Yi's death has something to do with our Holy Mountain. I wouldn't dare. This is definitely not what I meant. Deacon, please don't misunderstand this, Su. Su Jingting said. Yes, Deacon, this is definitely not what the patriarch meant. A few of the Su clan's relatives also spoke up, trying to smooth things over. This time, I came to the Su residence on behalf of the Holy Mountain to express my condolences on Su Yi's death. The beautiful middle-aged woman said, as if she didn't take Su Jingting's words to heart. The thoughts of the insignificant Su clan were not important to the Holy Mountain. As soon as she finished speaking, the beautiful middle-aged woman gave a look. A young man beside her stepped forward with an indifferent expression. He took out a jade box and handed it to Su Jingting. Su Jingting was surprised. He took the jade box and carefully opened it. A strong medicinal fragrance suddenly rushed out, spreading out and dazzling. A thumb-sized elixir that was emitting golden light appeared. Accompanied by a wave of energy, there was a faint sound of wind and thunder, as if it was alive. Looking at the jade box in Su Jingting's hand, the expressions of the Su clan's relatives changed drastically. Although they didn't know the origin of this elixir, they couldn't be sure that it was definitely a treasure. Such an elixir made Su Jingting's expression change drastically. This was definitely not an ordinary item. It was definitely a treasure. This is the Golden Lightning Heavenly Yuan Elixir. It's almost at the initial stage Huang grade. Consider it as an apology to the Su clan. The beautiful middle-aged woman looked at the expression on Su Jingting's face and revealed a faint smile in her eyes. This kind of treasure was something that the small Su clan would not be able to possess even if they were to sell off all their assets. This time around, the higher-ups were actually treating the Su clan in such a manner. This Golden Lightning Heavenly Yuan pill possessed an absolute allure even to her. It's a treasure. Hearing the beautiful middle-aged woman's words, the Su clan's relatives were excited. They wouldn't even have the chance to see such a treasure in their lifetime, let alone own it. The Su clan is flattered by the sacred mountain's grace. We dare not accept it. Deacon, please tell us what the Su clan can do for the sacred mountain. Su Jingting said without showing any expression. The sacred mountain was so generous. How could they give it to the Su clan for nothing? A Golden Lightning Heavenly Yuan elixir that was almost at the initial stage Huang grade was such a treasure. The entire Su clan couldn't afford it even if they sold all their assets. Normally, this would be enough to make Su Jingting's heart tremble. But recently, the experts from Shanjian Gate came and gave them treasures such as the Golden Lightning Heavenly Yuan elixir. Just the Golden Lightning Heavenly Yuan elixir alone was already a true initial stage Huang grade elixir. It's like this. Regarding the marriage between Su Yi and our Sacred Mountain's disciple, Lu Ruashi, although it's just a joke, Su Yi is dead now. This marriage contract actually doesn't exist anymore. So from now on, the marriage contract between the Su clan and Lu clan will come to an end. The beautiful middle-aged woman said to Su Jingting, "This Su Yi is dead. This marriage contract no longer exists." Hearing this, the Su clan's relatives whispered inwardly. The sacred mountain had already sent such a generous gift to the Su clan. Since Su Yi was dead, the marriage contract naturally didn't exist anymore. Su Jingting's face sank. He didn't say anything. He gently closed the jade box in his hand and put it aside. What did the Su clan's patriarch say? Seeing this, the beautiful middle-aged woman looked indifferent and asked faintly. Chapter 6:16. As soon as he finished speaking, Su Jingting gently pushed the jade box in front of the middle-aged woman. Seeing Su Jingting push such a precious treasure back, the Su clan relatives' faces darkened. They felt their hearts ache. Such a precious treasure was not something the Su clan could afford even if they sold their entire fortune. Seeing Su Jingting's action, the Sacred Mountain's people's faces darkened. This was something no one had expected. "Patriarch Su, what do you mean? Are you looking down on our Sacred Mountain?" The middle-aged woman's face darkened as she looked at Su Jingting indifferently. "I wouldn't dare. It's just that the Sacred Mountain is so generous. Jingting dares not accept it." Su Jingting raised his eyes and said to the middle-aged woman. His expression was neither servile nor overbearing. I advise Patriarch Su to consider it carefully. Our sacred mountain is only informing the Su clan about this matter. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The middle-aged woman's face darkened completely. A small Su clan actually did not know how to appreciate kindness. She said in a deep voice, even if Patriarch Su doesn't consider the Su clan, don't forget that your son is now a disciple of the sacred mountain. Speaking of which, the Su clan and our sacred mountain are not outsiders. The middle-aged woman's indifferent tone made the air in the hall freeze for no reason. It was as if there was a chill quietly spreading in the air. The expressions of the Su family's clan relatives darkened. They could all sense that the deacon from the sacred mountain was clearly enraged. Offending a deacon from the sacred mountain was definitely not a good thing for the Su family. Su Jingting's eyes flickered. He quietly clenched his fists, then relaxed them. He secretly took a deep breath, got up, and cupped his fists. He continued to speak to the middle-aged woman. Thank you for taking care of my son in the sacred mountain. But I really can't make the decision now, so I naturally dare not accept such a valuable gift. Hearing Su Jingting's words, the beautiful middle-aged woman's face became completely gloomy. She snorted coldly and stood up. Her gloomy face was not expressed in words. Without any reservation, she said in a deep voice, Master Su, let's end this matter here. This matter is just to inform the Su family that the engagement between the Su family and the Lu family has been canceled. That's it, let's go. As soon as she finished speaking, the middle-aged woman waved her hand and stood up to leave. The few young disciples also looked indifferent. Their gazes swept across the Su family members in the hall, and with a faint coldness, they directly left. Sir Deacon, please wait, Su Jingting said. Patriarch Su, do you have anything else to say? The middle-aged woman stopped and turned around to look at Su Jingting. Her eyes flickered slightly as she thought that Su Jingting had an idea. Deacon, please take this pill back. The Su clan is ashamed to accept it. Su Jingting stepped forward and handed the jade box to the beautiful middle-aged woman. Su family, good, very good. The middle-aged woman was stunned for a moment. Then, she took the pill from Su Jingting's hand and walked away with a cold smile on her face. See him off, Deacon. Su Jingting's expression turned serious as he instructed the servants to see the guests out. Sir Deacon, please don't be angry. The faces of several Su clan elders changed greatly. They looked uneasy and immediately stood up to send him off. Patriarch, now that we've offended the sacred mountain, I'm afraid that in the future, there were still a few Su clan elders who did not leave. Their faces were solemn. They were worried that they had offended someone from the holy mountain, not to mention that Su Wei was still in the holy mountain. The marriage agreement between the old patriarch and the Lu clan should be canceled by the old patriarch and the Lu clan, Su Jingting said. But Su Yi is dead. This marriage agreement has no meaning. There is really no need to offend the holy mountain for this. An elder of the Su clan spoke. Su Yi was dead, so the marriage agreement itself had no meaning. Su Wei was still in the holy mountain, and they were afraid that he would be greatly affected in the future. Su Yi is dead. That is what the holy mountain said. Dead without a corpse. What if Su Yi is not dead? Su Jingting said, waving his sleeves, and said to the crowd, there is no need to mention this in the future. Let it be. Sigh. Hearing this, several elders of the Su clan sighed. Offending the holy mountain for the dead Su Yi was definitely not a wise decision. Patriarch, a servant of the Su clan hurried over, looking quite surprised and anxious. What's the matter? Su Jingting asked with a slightly gloomy face. Miss Lu Ruashi of the Lu clan is here. She said she wants to see the old patriarch. The servant of the Su clan spoke, his heart still trembling. Such a woman was like a celestial being, and he did not dare to look straight at her. Lu Ruashi. Hearing this, Su Jingting's face was suddenly surprised and puzzled. A moment later, in the hall of the Su clan, Lu Ruashi walked in with light steps, bowed, and said to Su Jingting, Ruashi greets Uncle Su. I don't dare. Are you trying to make me look bad? Su Jingting was shocked. Looking at such a woman in front of him, she was like a celestial being, like a banished immortal. She was a disciple of the Holy Mountain, and it was said that she was also highly valued by the Holy Mountain. Uncle Su is too polite. I haven't seen Uncle Su for many years. Uncle Su is still as elegant as ever. Lu Ruashi stood up with a charming smile. I haven't seen you for many years, and you've grown up. I'm ashamed. Su Jingting said as he looked at the girl in front of him. It had been several years since they last met, and the little girl had already grown into such a beautiful girl. The invisible aura emanating from her made him feel apprehensive. Compared to the deacon of the sacred mountain he had just faced, the pressure was much greater. 3-inch, I didn't know that I met the people from the Holy Mountain just now. I apologize if I've caused any inconvenience and impact to Uncle Su and the Su clan. I hope Uncle Su and the elders can forgive me. Lu Ruashi bowed. She saw the people from the Holy Mountain leave at the gate just now, and, judging from their expressions, it seemed that the meeting was not very pleasant. The people from the Holy Mountain secretly came to the Su clan. Lu Ruashi did not need to think too much to know what had happened. I don't deserve this. Please get up. Su Jingting's expression darkened, and he immediately helped Lu Ruashi up. Miss Lu, you're too polite. A few elders of the Su clan also immediately apologized. Lu Ruashi's identity was different from before. She was the most valued disciple of the Holy Mountain. How could the small Su clan compare to her? I heard that the old master is injured, so my father specially sent me to come and greet him. I still remember when we were young, the old master's demeanor was outstanding. This is a small token of my sincerity. I hope Uncle Su can decline it. Otherwise, I can't go back and answer to my father. As Lu Ruashi's voice faded, she handed a bottle of medicine to Su Jingting with a sincere expression. This. Chapter 617. Uncle Su, you're too polite. Since the old master is in seclusion, Ruashi won't disturb you any longer. I'll visit the old master another day. Lu Ruashi bowed and left. I'll send you off. Su Jingting and the Su family's relatives didn't dare to be careless. Uncle Su, please wait. Lu Ruashi smiled and hesitated for a moment. She looked like she wanted to say something, but stopped herself. In the end, she opened her mouth and asked Su Jingting, Uncle Su, do you have any news about Su-E? Su-E. Su Jingting was surprised, and the Su family's elders were also puzzled. Miss Lu, don't you know that Su-E met with a mishap on the way to the Holy Mountain? One of the elders asked. Is that so? Lu Ruashi's expression didn't change, but her eyes were shrouded in a dark shadow, adding a touch of unfathomable emotion. Uncle Su, please restrain your grief. After a moment of silence, Lu Ruashi bowed and left. Su Jingting and the Su family's relatives sent her off to the gate. The beautiful female deacon from the Holy Mountain was waiting outside and seemed to have met Lu Ruashi at the gate. Uncle Su, please return. Lu Ruashi bid farewell and left on her mount. The beautiful middle-aged woman from the Holy Mountain looked at Su Jingting and the others with a displeased expression. Her eyes were indifferent as she left with Lu Ruashi. Patriarch, I'm afraid our Su family has offended the Holy Mountain. Watching the Holy Mountain's people leave, a few of the Su family's relatives looked solemn and worried. The Holy Mountain was a colossus that the Su family couldn't afford to offend. Although the Holy Mountain is big and our Su family is small, the mountain is high and the water is far away. Our Su family can't ask the Holy Mountain for anything. Don't mention this matter again in the future. If the old master wasn't in seclusion, he would have handled it the same way. Su Jingting's expression darkened a little. He was not angry, but he was imposing. The elders didn't dare to say anything. Although the old master wasn't around, he still had some influence. They knew the old master's temper. Although Su-E had already met with misfortune, and the engagement was as good as useless, the attitude of the sacred mountain when they came to the Su family and threw down the pill was undoubtedly a great humiliation to the Su family. If the Su family was a colossus and the Holy Mountain was just a small Su family, How could the people from the Holy Mountain dare to have such an attitude? It's just that Su Yi is still in the Holy Mountain. Our Su family has offended the Holy Mountain. I'm afraid Su Wei will not have an easy time in the Holy Mountain. If someone makes things difficult for Su Yi, what should we do? Some elders were worried. Right now, Su Wei was the future and hope of the Su family. If his future was delayed because of this, it would affect the entire Su family. We're just doing what the Su family should do. Let nature take its course, Su Jingting said. He held the medicine bottle in his hand and seemed to be deep in thought. Family head, you said that Lu Ruoxi is here. What's going on? Could it be that Lu Ruoxi really doesn't know about this? Some people of the Su family were puzzled. It seemed that Lu Ruoxi's attitude was completely different from the attitude of the deacon of the Holy Mountain. Was this intentional, or was she really unaware? These elders couldn't understand. It's been a few years since we last met. Lu Ruoxi has grown up, as expected of a disciple valued by the Holy Mountain. Lu Zongyuan has a good daughter. Su Jingting said softly. He had seen many people, so how could he not see that today Lu Ruoxi was even more different than before? He could feel her every movement and action. It's a pity that Su Yi Brat is so lucky, Su Jingting sighed with regret. Such a young girl, a phoenix that flew out from a small barbarian city. It was a pity that Su Yi's luck wasn't good. Otherwise, with the promise made by the old man and the Lu family, this could be considered the Su family's fortune. It's a pity that the Golden Lightning Heavenly Origin Pill is almost at the Huang grade. That's a great treasure. If it's consumed, it can immediately increase one's cultivation. Some relatives of the Su family were still talking about the Gold Thunder Heaven primary elixir that was returned. They had never seen an elixir at the high level of the star grade in their lives. Such a precious treasure might be worth several times the value of the Su family, but it was returned. Su Jingting didn't say much. The Golden Lightning Heavenly Origin Pill was indeed a great treasure. If it was before, he would most likely be reluctant to part with it. But at this moment, Su Jingting's heart was much calmer. He wasn't too moved by it. The cultivation resources brought by the experts of the Shenzhen Gate were far from what the Golden Lightning Heavenly Origin Pill could compare with. Rumble, the Lu family's mount sped away, raising a cloud of dust. Deacon Wang, this is after all a barbarian city. Next time you go to the Su family, please let me know. On the mount, Lu Ruoxi said to the beautiful middle-aged woman with a calm expression. But the meaning in her words wasn't expressed in words. There was an invisible sharpness in her words. Saintess, this is the Holy Master's idea. Su Yi is dead, and the marriage agreement is not valid. If the Su family doesn't know how to appreciate favors and doesn't want to let go of this matter, the beautiful middle-aged woman said with a trace of coldness in her eyes. I've said it before. Next time you go to the Su family, please let me know. I don't want to repeat myself. As for the Holy Master, I'll explain it to him when the time comes. H% W% Lu Ruoxi's eyes flickered slightly. She looked at the beautiful middle-aged woman with an inexplicable sense of majesty. Yes, Saintess. The beautiful middle-aged woman's eyes changed a little. She seemed to be afraid of something and nodded. Outside the barbarian city, there were continuous mountains. Huge mountains rose one after another, and forests were connected. Ancient trees towered into the sky, covering the sky and the sun. Vines were entwined around the mountains, and the trees were long and strong like horned dragons. Awoo! Another day, when night fell, the roars of beasts could be heard outside the barbarian city. The whole barbarian city was shaking, and it was frightening. Did something really happen? On the city tower, the experts of the 5 great families gathered, and all of them had a serious expression. Many barbaric beasts are getting closer and closer. The head of the Mo family, Mo Lai, frowned and squinted his eyes. His slightly plump body was covered in a tight robe. He looked like he was in his 40s, but it didn't match his age. If the army of barbaric beasts attacks the barbarian city, the consequences will be unimaginable. The head of the He family, He Quan, said. He had a broad head and a big face. He looked into the distance with a serious expression. If the army of barbaric beasts attacks the barbarian city, The consequences will be more serious than when the Undying sect attacked the barbarian city. The head of the Song family, Song Ming, said he still remembered the bloody scene when the Undying sect attacked the barbarian city. He almost lost his life in that bloody battle. Chapter 6:18. These barbaric beasts are getting restless. They have been gathering for so long, and their numbers are increasing. Why aren't they attacking? Are we thinking too much? One of the experts from the 5 great clans asked with a glimmer of hope. These barbaric beasts are waiting for stronger barbaric beasts to come. When that time comes, they will really attack. Su Jingting said he had been training outside the barbarian demon forest and knew a lot about these barbaric beasts. These barbaric beasts gathering here definitely wasn't simple. Once the stronger barbaric beasts arrived, it would be the time for them to attack. It would also be the beginning of Barbarian City's nightmare. Someone took a deep breath. If more barbaric beasts came, how would Barbarian City be able to defend against them? Patriarch Su, how is the old man's body now? This is such a big matter. Have you told him about it? One of the experts from the 5 great clans asked Su Jingting. Patriarch Su Yuntian was the backbone of Barbarian City now. 20 years ago, during the bloody battle with the Undying sect, all the experts in Barbarian City died in the battle. At the critical moment, Patriarch Su led the Su clan's suicide squad and killed the enemy. From then on, Patriarch Su Yuntian was the backbone of Barbarian City. Patriarch Su Yuntian, my father is in seclusion. Even I can't see him. Su Jingting didn't hide it. He was also curious why his father suddenly went into seclusion and even ordered that no one was to disturb him. Hearing this, everyone's face darkened. Patriarch Su, I heard that Patriarch Su's injuries haven't healed yet. How is he now? Patriarch Mo Lai of the Mo clan asked. Patriarch Su was injured by Wang Chuanda of the Sacred Mountain. Everyone in Barbarian City knew about this. It wasn't a secret. Especially the people from the various great clans. They all knew that Patriarch Su's injuries hadn't healed. Hearing Su Jingting's words, they couldn't help but feel worried. If Patriarch Su Yuntian's injuries were fine, Barbarian City would have a backbone. If something happened to Patriarch Su Yuntian, Barbarian City would be in even more danger. Everyone, don't worry. My father's injuries are fine. Su Jingting did not hide anything. The mysterious expert had appeared in the Su family, and the old man's injuries were almost healed. In addition, the expert from Shunjing Gate had come this time. Su Jingting guessed that it might have something to do with his father's injuries. His father might be in seclusion to heal. Hearing Su Jingting's words, everyone was secretly moved. They didn't know if Su Jingting was telling the truth. A while ago, they had heard that the old man's injuries seemed to be getting worse. City Lord, I heard that your daughter has returned from the Holy Mountain. I wonder what kind of experts have come from the Holy Mountain this time. Someone from the 5 clans asked. Lu Ruashi had returned to Man City. If there were strong cultivators among the people from the Sacred Mountain who could help Man City, they wouldn't have to worry about those demonic beasts. Hearing this, everyone's gaze also landed on Lu Zongyuan. Everyone knew that even though Lu Ruashi had returned and was an important disciple of the Sacred Mountain, she was still very young. No matter how strong she was, it would be impossible for her to grow much stronger in just a few years. But if there were strong cultivators from the Sacred Mountain, as long as they could help Man City, it would be enough to solve the problem of Man City. There are strong cultivators from the Sacred Mountain, but there were some accidents on the way, and they were delayed. But they should be able to come to Man City as soon as possible. Lu Zongyuan said. He knew what everyone was thinking, but he had no way of knowing when the strong cultivator from the Sacred Mountain that his daughter had mentioned would arrive. I hope that strong cultivator can arrive in time. Everyone sighed, but when they heard that there were strong cultivators from the Sacred Mountain coming this time, they secretly relaxed a little. With Lu Ruashi's relationship and the Mo family, Song family, He family, and Su family all had disciples in the Sacred Mountain. Once Man City was in danger, the strong cultivators from the Sacred Mountain would not just stand by and do nothing. They would definitely help. All clans will send out strong cultivators to patrol day and night. Make arrangements for the old, young, and women in the city. City Lord Lu Zongyuan said. No one knew when the strong cultivator from the sacred mountain would arrive. Moreover, this was Man City's matter, so in the end, they still had to rely on Man City. Time slowly passed by. Within the mysterious space, within the spiritual liquid pool, there was a pale golden egg. At this moment, it was sparkling. The patterns on its surface were glowing, as if there was red blood flowing within it. It was suffused with an ancient pressure. However, at this moment, the spiritual liquid pool, which was almost filled to the brim with spiritual liquid, was completely absorbed by the pale golden egg. Not even a single drop was left. The pale golden egg became more and more dazzling, faintly emitting the sound of wind and thunder. Su-yi, who was sitting cross-legged, suddenly opened his eyes at a certain moment. His eyes were crimson red, like crimson lightning. His aura fluctuated, causing his robes to flutter. There was an indescribable aura of destruction. Immediately, Su-yi's gaze became introverted, returning to its deep and tenacious state, revealing a kind of spirituality. His entire person seemed to emanate an extraordinary aura from inside out. With one look, one could tell that he was not ordinary. With a smile at the corner of his eyes, Su-yi looked within himself. He knew that his current situation had stabilized at level 9 Origin Spirit stage. Although his cultivation level had only risen by a small level, his battle prowess had undoubtedly risen as well, taking another step forward. Level 9 Origin Spirit stage was only a step away from Yuanjin stage. Although this step was something that many people would not be able to take in their entire lives, Su-yi had confidence in himself. It would not be long before he would definitely be able to break through this step. Yuanjin stage, Yuan Spirit stage. Only then would he be able to take another step forward. However, Su-yi was also in a dilemma. If he were to cultivate the Great Void Spirit Sea, although it might seem like a step away from Yuanjin stage to Yuan Spirit stage, in reality, it would be a narrow escape. However, once he was able to successfully cultivate it, it was easy to imagine that he would be truly invincible amongst those of the same level and cultivation level. He would be able to sweep away all opponents of the same level, which would be very frightening. Let's cultivate properly first. When the time comes, everything will be all right. Su-yi mumbled to himself. Since it was not yet time for him to break through, he would decide when the time came. Suddenly, Su-yi seemed to have sensed something. His gaze immediately turned towards the place where he sensed it. It was the spiritual liquid pool that he valued the most. At this moment, there was an extremely strong fluctuation emanating from it. His heart tightened. That was the spiritual liquid pool that he valued the most. Su-yi immediately flew over. When he saw the scene within the spiritual liquid pool, Su-yi was immediately dumbfounded. The spiritual liquid pool that was originally almost completely filled had now dried up. A faint golden egg was emitting a dazzling radiance within the spiritual liquid pool. It glistened with a scarlet light, and an ancient aura emanated from it. Chapter 619. Compared to the shock brought about by the egg's transformation, the heartache in Su-yi's heart was even more intense. Looking at the spirit liquid pool that was filled to the brim with spirit liquid that had completely dried up, Su-yi didn't have to guess as he knew that it was surely the doing of this egg. Latest chapter P7 equals section above hashtag BD. Su-yi was extremely clear about the value of these spirit liquids, and he usually couldn't bear to use them. Never had he imagined that it would be completely ruined by this egg, and this heartache was obvious to Su-yi. Could it be that something is about to hatch and break out of its shell? Forcefully enduring the heartache in his heart, Su-yi pondered as he gazed at the changing egg. This egg was originally impervious to fire and water, like a diamond that couldn't be destroyed, but at this moment, it seemed as if it was alive, as if something was about to break out of its shell. This caused Su-yi to have a little more anticipation and lessen the heartache in his heart. The origin of this egg wasn't simple. It came from that divine bird, and it was extremely likely that the egg that hatched was the descendant of that divine bird. If it was the descendant of that divine bird that awakened, Then once it grew up, it would represent something that he didn't dare imagine. So this caused Su-yi to be unable to help but have slight anticipation in his heart. Suddenly, Su-yi sensed something in his heart, and he immediately turned around to look to his side. There was suddenly an aura fluctuation there, and a formidable aura fluctuation suffused out, shaking this mysterious space and causing it to react. Amidst the aura fluctuation, Su-Yun sat cross-legged, and dazzling golden metal element energy coiled around his body, drawing in the energy of heaven and earth and suffusing it with a sharp and desolate aura. Within this mysterious space, there was a mysterious energy fluctuation that poured into Su-Yun's body at this moment. Bang! His aura fluctuated, and a dazzling golden light shook the sky, and a vast and vigorous aura fluctuation came from within Su-Yun's body. Grandfather is breaking through. Su-yi pursed his lips and smiled. Just as he expected, after consuming so much spirit liquid, the old master directly started breaking through in a short period of time. Even though it hadn't been long since the old master stepped foot into the first level of the Origin Void stage, Su-yi completely didn't have to worry that the old master's cultivation would be unstable due to the old master's breakthrough within the mysterious space. On the contrary, the energy contained in the spiritual liquid and the benefits that he and the mysterious space could bring were enough to cleanse the old man's bones and transform him. Bang! At a certain moment, from within old master Su-Yun's Dantian Chi Si, a muffled sound like that of wind and thunder came out. The aura on his body also suddenly rose to a new height. Buzz! It was also at this moment that a mysterious force surged from within this mysterious space. Rays of light surged from the depths of space like a rainbow. It was like a dense mist that caused ripples to appear, and the rumbling of wind and thunder resounded. A mysterious energy descended from the depths of the void and enveloped old master Su-Yun. At this moment, Su-Yun seemed to be immersed in another world, oblivious to the outside world. Under the envelopment of the mysterious energy, old master Su-Yun's body was silent and motionless like an old monk in meditation. His entire body emitted rays of light from the inside out. Under the envelopment of the mysterious energy, old master Su-Yun's body seemed to be resonating with the energy. There seemed to be some kind of invisible connection between the two. From the pores of old master Su-Yun's body, traces of mist were emitted. This mist was black in color. It seeped out of his pores and turned into black stains that dripped down. When this black mist came out, old master Su-Yun's exposed skin could be seen that his old skin gradually became sparkling and translucent. It was as if it was filled with vitality, like a withered tree that had come to life in the spring. Although this change was very slow, it was a gradual change. Su-yi was dumbfounded and very surprised. This is the cleansing of the bone and marrow. Grandfather is transforming. Su-yi was very astonished. He knew that no matter if it was the effect of the spirit liquid or the mysterious space, it could cause living beings that entered the mysterious space for the first time to undergo a transformation. However, there had never been anyone who underwent such an intense transformation. This couldn't help but make Su-yi suspect that perhaps the amount of spirit liquid he gave grandfather was a bit too much. He hoped that it was beneficial and harmless. Within the pool of spirit liquid, the egg emitted movements. Not far away, old master Su-Yun was also obtaining good fortune. The cleansing of the bone and marrow seemed like it would continue for a long time. Looking at the situation, it seemed like it wouldn't end in a short period of time. The light in Su-yi's eyes surged as he sized up the pool. Within the pool of spirit liquid, a crimson light spread out. An ancient aura gushed out and became denser and denser. The pool of spirit liquid should have been completely poured into this egg. This egg seemed to have come to life, awakened, and sprouted. It was like a seed of life. Faintly, Su-yi felt a type of life aura. The egg became full of vitality. Su-Yun's body glittered with a golden light. His aura rose to the second level of the origin void stage and was still rising. The aura on Old Master Su Yuntian's body surged more and more. His entire body underwent an enormous change. His aged skin became firm and was covered in layers of black stains. However, under the black stains, his skin started to emit a kind of crystalline feeling. Then, there was another movement from not far away. There was an aura fluctuation. He looked over. The aura on the profound sun gold demon falcon and wolf bat's bodies started to rise as well. However, the movement caused by the two beasts was slightly smaller compared to Old Master Su Yuntian and the pale golden egg. Bang! At a certain moment, a muffled sound once again sounded out from Old Master Su Yuntian's body. A surge of aura spread out and shook the surroundings. This movement took a long time to completely calm down. It was as if the spirit liquid energy within Old Master Su Yuntian's body had been completely exhausted. Everything had completely ended. At this moment, Old Master Su Yuntian sat cross-legged without moving in the slightest like a boulder. Suddenly, Old Master Su Yuntian's eyes abruptly opened. A dazzling golden light that was like two golden bolts of lightning shot out. After that, it was restrained and returned to tranquility. On the surface of Old Master Su Yuntian's body, a layer of black stains that were like lumps was revealed. After that, a layer of body that was filled with a crystalline feeling and was filled with vitality appeared. Su-yi felt it and was extremely shocked. At this moment, even the aged feeling on Old Master Su Yuntian's face had changed quite a bit. It was as if Old Master Su Yuntian had suddenly become 10 years younger. Especially his head of white hair that had started to show signs of turning from white to black, as if Old Master Su Yuntian was about to return to his youth. Third level of the origin void stage. Old Master Su Yuntian's eyes trembled, and he was unable to return to his senses for a long time. At this moment, he was already at the third level of the origin void stage. He had only recently stepped foot into the true origin void stage. How long had it been? Yet now, he was already at the third level of the origin void stage. Compared to the breakthrough in his cultivation, Old Master Su Yuntian was even more aware in his heart that his greatest benefit came from the transformation that came from inside out. Chapter 620. Feeling his current state, the old man felt as if he had returned to a few decades ago, when he was still full of vigor and vitality. Congratulations on your breakthrough, Grandpa. He stepped forward with a smile. He could feel the changes in the old man's body, which made him happy. The spiritual liquid you gave me is a great treasure. Su Yuntian stood up, his eyes trembling. The value of the spiritual liquid could not be described in words. The old man still remembered that his cultivation speed was extremely fast before he was 40 years old, but slowed down a lot after he was 40 years old. This was not only because the higher the cultivation, the slower the cultivation speed. Most importantly, it was related to one's own body. One's own body was a cornerstone. The older one was, the less they could bear. In the end, they could no longer bear anything. Grandpa, it's good that you can benefit from it. Su-yi smiled, feeling the old man's current state of mind. Not to mention that his injuries had already healed. Sooner or later, he would be able to surpass Wang Chuanda of the Sacred Mountain. The benefits are great. It's like being reborn. Perhaps one day, I will be able to step into the Origin Emperor realm. That step is not unattainable. The old man laughed, feeling that his current transformation was like breaking out of a cocoon and turning into a butterfly. He could not help but feel a sense of pride in his heart. The Origin Emperor realm was like a legend to Su Yuntian in the past. Only a few people could reach the Origin Emperor realm in their lifetime. But now, the old man had an inexplicable confidence in the Origin Emperor realm. He would also try to touch it one day. Grandpa will definitely be able to do it. Su-yi nodded. He also estimated that the old man's cultivation was close to the Origin Void realm. That also meant that the old man's innate talent was absolutely excellent. With the benefits of the mysterious space he could find a way to help the old master find some treasures to step into the Origin Emperor realm. Naturally, there would be great hope. Alrighty, where's this place? What's going on? Old Master Su Yuntian slowly recovered from his joy and looked around. Not far away, he saw the wolf bat and the profound sun-golden demon falcon, whose auras were rising. He could not understand everything. At this point, Su Yi naturally had nothing to hide from the old man. Hence, he briefly explained the mysterious space's uses and magical aspects. However, Su Yi didn't mention much about what he had obtained from the mysterious space and the Origin Supreme technique. He only told the old man that he had accidentally obtained it when he was a child in the back of the mountain. Everything was quite magical. I knew it. Why is my grandson unable to store yuan qi for cultivation? So it's because of this treasure. The old man finally understood why Su Yi was unable to store yuan qi for cultivation when he was young and was called a good-for-nothing. It was not because he was unable to store yuan qi, but because he was affected by this treasure. Su Yi bitterly smiled. This mysterious space had also made him doubt his life for a long time. What's your cultivation base now? Percent 2 CF, full edition chapter. Suddenly, the old man curiously asked Su Yi. Even with his strength, it was difficult for him to sense Su Yi's cultivation base. He couldn't even roughly sense it, which made him curious. 9th level Origin Spirit Stage. Su Yi did not hide it. He cultivated the Origin Supreme technique. When he concealed his aura, it was difficult for ordinary people to sense his cultivation base. When he heard Su Yi's words, the old man's eyes widened and his heart couldn't help but tremble. 9th level Origin Spirit Stage. How old was Su Yi? How could old master Su Yintian not know that such a young 9th level Origin Spirit Stage was only a step away from the Yuanjin stage? On the path of cultivation, the further one progressed, the more difficult it was. According to what old master Su Yintian knew, even in the outside world, once one reached the Yuanjin stage, one would be considered an extraordinary expert. In some small clans, factions, and monasteries, Yuanjin stage cultivators were absolute experts. Su Yi was already at the 9th level of the Origin Spirit stage. With Su Yi's current cultivation speed, stepping into the Yuanjin stage was just around the corner. If news of such a young Yuanjin stage were to spread, it would definitely shock the world. Old Master Su Yintian still remembered that not long ago, when Su Yi fought with Ji Chao from Sacred Mountain, he was only at the Yuan Soul stage. In such a short time, Su Yi had already reached the 9th level of the Origin Spirit stage. Huff! Old Master Su Yintian couldn't help but take a deep breath. His grandson was only 16 years old. That Ji Chao from Sacred Mountain seemed to be slightly older than Su Yi. His cultivation base had already reached the 1st level of the Yuanjin stage, and he was already considered a genius of Sacred Mountain. In comparison, what kind of genius was Ji Chao? In front of his grandson, Ji Chao was just a piece of trash. This is a treasure. You have to be careful. You can't reveal it unless you have absolute strength. Old Master Su Yuntian suppressed the shock in his heart and looked at Su Yi sternly. He guessed that Su Yi's astonishing strength must have something to do with this treasure. Grandson understands. Su Yi nodded. He already knew about this problem. There were only a few people who knew about this treasure. That's good. Old Master Su Yuntian nodded. His heart was still in shock as he looked at his grandson in front of him. How could he not be shocked by such achievements at such a young age? No wonder he could reach the heavens in a single step at the Sky Ascension platform at the Xinjiang Gate and sweep through all the geniuses in the Myriad Sword Conference. Good. The more he thought about it, the happier he became. Old Master Su Yuntian couldn't help but laugh. Boom! There was a rumbling sound. It was quite shocking. Su Yi and Old Master Su Yuntian turned around. It was the wolf bat that was breaking through. Its body soared into the sky, and its wings were like flowing blood. Its claws were like hooks, and its fangs were shining with a faint light. At this moment, blood-red light gushed out from the wolf bat's body. The blood-red mist spread out and covered a large area of the surrounding space. The aura was horrifying. There were even faint wails of ghosts and gods coming from it, causing one's heart to tremble. Illo, the bloody mist rolled like a tidal wave. The wolf-headed demon bat's howl was earth-shattering. Its aura was constantly rising. This wolf-headed demon bat seems to be much stronger than what the rumors say. Old Master Su Yuntian sighed. He could feel that this wolf-headed demon bat was extraordinary. It was very strong. This kind of strength did not come from its cultivation base, but from its own extraordinariness. Compared to the legendary wolf-headed demon bat, it seemed to be much stronger. But soon, Old Master Su Yuntian understood. This wolf-headed demon bat was also cultivating in this treasure ground. It must have obtained great benefits. Gee! At this moment, there was an ear-piercing screech. The Xinyan Golden Demon Falcon had also started to break through. Chapter 6:21. Could it be? Su Yi pondered. In order to increase the cultivation of the wolf-headed demonic bat and Xinyan Golden Demon Falcon, he had given them quite a bit of spiritual liquid. Could it be that the two of them would make consecutive breakthroughs as he expected? Especially the wolf-headed demonic bat. If it made consecutive breakthroughs, it would be able to step into the demon true realm. The Xinyan Golden Demon Falcon didn't disappoint Su Yi. It made 2 consecutive breakthroughs before stopping. Right now, it's already at the 7th level of the demon spirit realm. The wolf-headed demonic bat's aura was still rising. Blood aura filled the air. Hello, half an hour later, the wolf-headed demonic bat let out a howl. A powerful aura rushed out from the wolf-headed demonic bat. It broke through to the demon true realm. Su Yuntian's eyes widened. The wolf-headed demonic bat broke through to the demon true realm in such a manner. This wasn't something that could be done easily. Aolo, gee, everything calmed down. The wolf-headed demonic bat and Xinyan Golden Demon Falcon came before Su Yi and bowed. Their eyes were filled with respect and gratitude, thanking Su Yi for the spiritual liquid. It's good that you've made a breakthrough. Su Yi nodded. The old man couldn't understand the beast language of the 2 demonic beasts. Seeing the respect of the 2 demonic beasts and Su Yi's expression, the old man couldn't help but be shocked. Crack, crack. Cracking sound could be heard. Although it was soft, it couldn't escape the ears of Su Yi and the rest. Numerous gazes immediately turned towards the source of the sound and landed on the spiritual liquid pool. Suddenly, there was an explosion of light, and rays of crimson light spread out from the spirit liquid pool. Crack, crack. Within the spiritual liquid pool, the pale golden egg began to crack. Scarlet light burst out and an aura spread out. Illo Zio first. Gee, the wolf-headed demonic bat and Xinyan Golden Demon Falcon seemed to have felt something and roared at each other. Their beast bodies were trembling. Su Yuntian's expression changed. The aura was very powerful. What a familiar aura! The degree of this pressure caused Su Yi's expression to immediately change. The yuan qi in his body seemed to be blocked and began to heat up for no reason, as if it was about to boil. Rumble! In the blink of an eye, the entire mysterious space suddenly trembled. A large amount of energy, like a gale, rushed toward the spiritual liquid pool and poured into the pale golden egg. At this moment, this pale golden egg was like a bottomless pit. Crimson light shone brightly as it absorbed the energy of heaven and earth. Streaks of crimson light filled the crack, becoming more and more dazzling as the aura became scorching hot. Finally, the egg completely split open. A large expanse of scarlet light engulfed all directions like a sandstorm. The resplendent radiance spread out and blazing flames rushed out, accompanied by multicolored light. BZ. At this moment, the entire mysterious space was filled with the sound of wind and thunder. In the depths of the void, divine light shot out as if it had descended from the heavens. In the end, it enveloped the center of the shattered egg. Cool. At this moment, there was a cry that pierced through the clouds and cracked the stones. It was as if a divine bird had transcended the ancient times. It was mysterious and frightening, causing people's hearts to tremble. Whoosh! Streaks of bright crimson flames rushed out from the spiritual liquid pool and soared into the sky. Endless crimson light exploded, and the crimson flames filled the air. It seemed as if half of the mysterious space was going to be swallowed up. The entire mysterious space trembled while divine lights covered it densely, causing it to glow brilliantly. The sound of wind and thunder resounded without end, and it was even accompanied by the interweaving of lightning and rumbling of thunder. It was like a god had emerged into the world, and it was an astonishing scene. Oh, gee! The wolf bat and the profound sun-golden demon falcon constantly roared and trembled. Old man Su Yun-tian was dumbfounded. He was dumbstruck. This was too shocking. Su Yi's eyes trembled. Under this kind of aura, the Origin Supreme technique in his body could not help but operate on its own. He felt a great pressure, as if it could suppress all living things. Is this really the descendant of a divine bird about to break out of its shell? Su Yi's eyes trembled. He squinted his eyes, trying his best to see what was happening in the spiritual liquid pool. But the light was too dazzling, accompanied by a mighty aura. He could not see it clearly, and that mighty aura was very familiar to Su Yi. It was very similar to the aura of the divine bird, because his own Yuan Qi had transformed into the form of that divine bird. Su Yi could feel that although the aura was very similar, there were some differences. At this moment, the aura in the spiritual liquid pool seemed to be able to look down on all living things, to look down on heaven and earth, and to suppress the ancient times. Even if he was operating the Origin Supreme technique, Su Yi could not help but tremble. In the spiritual liquid pool, the cries exceeded the ancient times. The aura burst out, causing the entire mysterious space to become incomparably hot. The crimson light was accompanied by a torrential flame that swept out in all directions. It was an intimidating force. Too strong. Old man Su Yuntian's eyes trembled. His heart and soul were throbbing. The wolf bat and the mystic sun golden demon falcon were constantly roaring. They had long prostrated themselves on the ground, trembling nonstop. Fortunately, this was in the mysterious space. If it was in the outside world, it would have already startled everyone. But even so, for some reason, the barbarian city was still affected. Above the barbarian city, the sky suddenly changed color. Thick, dark clouds covered the sky, causing the barbarian city, which was supposed to be sunny and sunny, to quietly sink into darkness. Crackle, boom, for no reason, lightning flashed in the depths of the sky, and thunder resounded. An invisible force of heaven and earth accompanied it, causing the entire barbarian city to feel oppressed. Oh! The mounts of the barbarian beasts of the various great families roared and prostrated, resounding endlessly. What's going on? The people of the various great families were shocked. Experts leaped out and looked at the sky, wanting to know the source of this terrifying movement. Outside the Liu family, Liu Ruoxi, Liu Zhengyuan, and the other elders of the Liu family immediately looked up. The beautiful middle-aged woman and the other disciples of the sacred mountain were also present. They secretly changed color, not knowing why such a movement would occur in this small barbarian city. For no reason, there was an aura that made them tremble in fear. In the entire city, many people walked out and looked around. They were stunned, not knowing what was going on. Everyone only felt their hearts throbbing for no reason. They could not help but feel their bodies go soft, and their Yuan Qi was blocked in their bodies. Oh, Guji! At this moment outside the barbarian city, the large group of barbarian beasts that were entrenched outside the city were also hissing, roaring, and trembling. The dense forest, towering trees, and twisting ancient vines were everywhere. Two figures stood on top of a towering tree, their bodies shrouded in light. They looked in the direction of the barbarian city, where there was a shocking movement. Lightning flashed, thunder rumbled, and the sky changed color. The two figures looked to be in their 50s. One of them was of medium height, wearing a black robe and long boots. He was tall and sturdy, with short black hair and bright eyes. The other person was a head taller, wearing a long green robe. His body was thin, and the corners of his eyes were long and narrow. His entire person had a cold and feminine temperament, but the aura on his body was inexplicably terrifying. Since ancient times, there's been a saying in the sect that the barbarian city is a treasure land, and there are shocking secrets buried there. Chapter 6:22. What a strong aura. It seems to be related to the demon clan. In the corner of the feminine middle-aged man's long and narrow eyes, a blazing light surged quietly. That aura made his heart tremble. It was definitely extraordinary. I have received news that the old man from the Sioux family has been severely injured. I'm afraid he won't be able to hold on for much longer. This time, with the help of the Green Emperor, we will definitely be able to raze the barbarian city to the ground. To be able to encounter such a situation, perhaps a rare treasure has appeared. God is really blessing me. The black-robed, short-haired, middle-aged man sneered and said, however, with the Green Emperor around, even if the old man from the Sioux family is not injured, he will not be a match for the Green Emperor. Looks like you didn't lie to me. This small barbarian city is indeed not simple. The green-robed, middle-aged man who was called the Green Emperor looked at the barbarian city. He could feel that this small city was not simple. As soon as he finished speaking, a bright light surged in the Green Emperor's eyes. It was as if his eyes had turned into two vortexes. Raise the barbarian city to the ground. Go. The faint voice was somewhat feminine. It was as if it could penetrate the space and spread to the void behind him. Oh, Guji. At the same time, the beasts in the mountains roared like thunder. Dense groups of barbarian beasts roared and leaped out from the mountains, rushing towards the barbarian city. The mountains and forests rose and fell. Large groups of ferocious birds flapped their wings and flew out. In an instant, ferocious aura exploded. The earth shook and the mountains shook. Oh, gee! The army of barbarian beasts roared. The ferocious birds flapped their wings and soared into the sky. Kill! Wash the barbarian city with blood. The black-robed, short-haired, middle-aged man waved his hand and looked in the direction of the barbarian city. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. Swoosh, swoosh. From the mountains and forests, numerous figures flew out. They were densely packed, as if they were well-trained. Their bodies were filled with a murderous aura as they flew towards the barbarian city. In the mysterious space, the shocking commotion gradually subsided after a short while, and the frightening scene also calmed down. The light dissipated and the mysterious space returned to normal. It was as if nothing had happened. However, at this moment, the heaven and earth energy in the mysterious space seemed to have completely dried up. It was no different from the outside world. It was as if something had devoured all the energy in the mysterious space just now. Su-Yi immediately sensed the changes in the mysterious space. His heart ached so much that he was speechless. Su-Yi also immediately rushed to the spiritual liquid pool. Everything that had happened just now was definitely related to the item in the spiritual liquid pool. Following behind Su-Yi, Old Master Su-Yun-Tian also regained his senses and followed behind Su-Yi. Following their gazes, they saw faint golden eggshells scattered in the pool of spiritual liquid. Hula! Suddenly, there seemed to be something wiggling within the eggshell. The cracked, pale golden eggshell directly turned into fine powder. An outline of a fist-sized object appeared within the shattered eggshell. Cough! With a snort, the shattered eggshell was blown into dust, and a fist-sized bird was completely revealed. Cough, cough! The little bird kept sneezing, and its small body swayed along with it. When Su-Yi and Old Master Su-Yun-Tian saw the little bird that broke out of the eggshell, they were immediately dumbfounded. Their expressions immediately froze. The fist-sized bird had a gorgeous body. Its small tail was covered with dazzling five-colored tail feathers. Although the bird was small, it had a perfect body shape. For no reason, it could show an inexplicable majesty. The little bird kept coughing. Covered with feathers, its body seemed a little chubby, which added to its cuteness. equals 47. The Xianyang golden demon falcon and the wolf bat also poked their heads out and looked down at the little bird in the spiritual liquid pool. Their fierce eyes were filled with curiosity, and for no reason, they felt an inexplicable pressure. Their eyes were filled with reverence. As if it felt that someone was looking at it, the little bird raised its head. Its pair of clear little eyes were filled with curiosity, which added to its cuteness. Was it this little sparrow that caused the commotion just now? What is it? Old Master Su Yuntian clicked his tongue, and his eyes were filled with doubt. It was obvious that the shocking commotion just now came from this little bird. Sui smiled bitterly. This fist-sized bird was really only the size of sparrow. However, since it broke out of the eggshell, it was obviously not an ordinary thing. From the commotion just now, it was not difficult to know that this little bird must have a great origin. Sui suspected that this little sparrow might be the descendant of the divine bird. But at this moment, Sui felt that there was a difference between this little bird and the divine bird. However, Sui was certain that this little bird was not the descendant of the divine bird, and it was definitely not an ordinary thing. I'm not a sparrow. Who are you? The little bird's gaze swept across the Xianyang golden demon falcon and the wolf bat. Finally, it carefully sized up Sui and Old Master Su Yuntian. It blinked its clear little eyes, looking extremely cute. This sparrow can talk. Old man Su Yuntian was stunned. He was flabbergasted. A little bird that could talk. Could it be a demon illusionary realm expert? But this little bird clearly didn't feel like a demon emperor realm expert. Coo! At this moment, Su Yi's surprise was no less than that of Old Master Su Yuntian. This little bird that just broke out of the eggshell actually spoke. This was too shocking. This little bird must have a great origin. Perhaps it is the cub of a great demon from the demon clan. A faint voice filled with astonishment came out. The blood jasper spirit ginseng had unknowingly drilled out. It was suffused with light, and the leaves on its head were fluctuating. Its eyes were also wide open as it fell on the little bird in the pool of spiritual liquid. Hey, I feel that after I eat you, I can get a lot of benefits. Come, let me have a bite. Suddenly, the mysterious little bird's gaze fell on the blood jasper spirit ginseng as if it had been electrocuted. Then, its clear eyes surged with a touch of blazing color. Its little sharp beak smacked, as if saliva was about to flow out. Whoosh! In an instant, the little bird's little wings suddenly spread out. Light shone brightly, and its aura was blazing. It was as if it was going to emit a bright flame, revealing a dazzling multicolored color. It flapped its wings, and in an instant, directly pounced on the blood jasper spirit ginseng. Little bird, how dare you? The blood jasper spirit ginseng shouted. Although it did not have much attacking power, it had truly stepped into the demon illusionary realm. How could it be bullied by a little bird that just broke out of its eggshell? Swoosh, swoosh. In an instant, the spiritual whiskers on the blood jasper spirit ginseng's body suddenly surged. Like a long whip, it swept out and emitted a green light, directly wrapping around the little bird. Seeing this, the little bird was not afraid at all. Its speed suddenly increased, and it was also incomparably agile. It directly opened its little mouth and directly bit at the spiritual whiskers. Cheap. The spiritual whiskers were not simple, but at that moment, one of the spiritual whiskers was bitten by the little bird, and immediately more than half of it was bitten off by the little bird. Oh no, this little bird is too strange. Chapter 6:23. In an instant, the blood jasper spiritual ginseng ran away. Don't run. The little bird cried out loudly and chased after him relentlessly. It was even chirping away. Sui, help me. This little bird is too strange. As soon as the blood jasper spiritual ginseng finished its words, it ran back into the herb field in a panic. Sui's face also changed. He was very surprised. Hearing this, Sui did not dare to delay. Immediately, the yuan qi under his feet swept out. He stretched out his hand, and a ray of yuan qi swept out. The yuan qi condensed, and turned into a Yuan Qi handprint in Su Yi's hand. He immediately grabbed at the little bird. In an instant, the Yuan Qi handprint enveloped the little bird. "Don't run. I'll take another bite." The little bird spread its wings. Its small body was unbelievably fast. It seemed to have felt Su Yi's handprint and instantly escaped. It spread its wings and flew to a low altitude. Its little eyes were still looking around, as if it was searching for traces of the blood jasper spiritual ginseng. Unfortunately, the blood jasper spiritual ginseng had already disappeared. Su Yi was surprised. The little bird's strength didn't seem to be strong. For what he saw earlier, it was only around the demon spirit realm. However, its speed was shocking and it had many mysteries. But a little bird that just broke out of its shell already has the strength of a demon spirit realm. That's already very terrifying. Looks like it might really be a greater demon's cub. Su Yuntian's eyes flickered as he stared at the mysterious little bird. Su Yi's eyes moved. He knew what a greater demon's cub was. 10. A big clan among the demons. Only the strongest of the demons could be called a greater demon. It was rumored that those greater demons were feared by even the strongest of the human race. Once a greater demon is born, it's enough to sweep the world. A big clan among the demons. It's the top bloodline of the demon race. The dragon race and phoenix race were already buried in the ancient times. Those that can be called a big clan among the demons are the top of the demon race. It was said that the greater demon's cub was born with supernatural talent. When it was born, it had the foundation of cultivation. It was different from the rest and was protected by the heavens. The infant of a greater demon. This is no ordinary item. Old man Su Yuntian was very excited. This was the cub of a greater demon, an extraordinary object that could not even be described as priceless. Su Yi's eyes moved. He naturally knew what a great demon cub represented. This little sparrow can't be leaked. Once someone finds out, it will cause a huge disaster. Su Yuntian sternly said to Su Yi, reminding Su Yi, if someone were to find out about this great Yao cub, it would cause an uproar in all directions. Even the top forces and experts would be alarmed and come over. When that happened, one could imagine the consequences. With the Su family's strength, there was no way they could protect a greater demon cub. Understood. Su Yi nodded and looked at the mysterious bird in front of him. I heard that some big forces and experts have the ability to tame brute demon beasts. But this kind of greater demon cub is not easy to tame. But I heard that for any brute demon beast or demon race beast, the smaller it is, the easier it is to tame it. Old man, Su Yuntian muttered. If he could tame a greater demon cub, one could imagine what it would be like in the future. Hearing this, Su Yi thought about something in his mind. You guys are humans, but I can feel the aura of the demon race from your body. This aura seems to make me very comfortable. Who are you guys? The mysterious little bird seemed to have forgotten about the blood jade spirit ginseng for a moment. Its clear and lively little eyes once again landed on Su Yi and old master Su Yuntian. It curiously sized them up, especially when it looked at Su Yi. Its eyes were filled with doubt and intimacy. Then tell me first, where are you from? Su Yi asked tentatively. It was said that the greater demon cub was born with a bloodline inheritance and was extremely strong. But because of this, the heavens were fair. Those greater demons were too strong, and those peak demon races were too strong. If they wanted to leave behind a bloodline, it wouldn't be so easy. The stronger the demon race, the lesser the bloodline. I don't know where I came from. My mind is in a mess. I only know that I seem to have been injured, and there is only a trace of life left. But when I came here, I got some benefits and started to recover. It seems to be related to you. The mysterious little bird looked at Su Yi and said in a serious tone. It looked at Su Yi with its little eyes and seemed to be very close to him. Is that so? Su Yi raised his eyebrows. He didn't know if the little bird was telling the truth, but it seemed to be true. And where did the energy go? Only then did old master Su Yuntian feel that the originally dense energy in this space had disappeared. This place is mysterious. It will gradually recover in the future. Su Yi said, but his heart was bleeding. Just how many primordial stones had been used to maintain the energy in this mysterious space? As Su Yi's cultivation increased, the mysterious space was constantly expanding. Now, the area of the mysterious space was no longer the same as before. The next time he wanted to fill the mysterious space with energy, he would need an astronomical number of primordial stones. That's good. Hearing Su Yi's words, old man Su Yun Tian was relieved. I've been here for a while. Maybe your brother Su Wei has returned to Man City. I'll go out and take a look. Old man Su Yun Tian looked at Su Yi and said. Su Yi's eyes flickered. He knew what his grandfather meant. If the people from St. Mountain were in Man City, then Lu Ruashi should be here too. She might be here for him. Don't worry. Grandfather knows what to do about your marriage with Lu Ruashi. Looking at Su Yi's expression, old man Su Yun Tian said with a smile. Grandfather, you can make the decision. Su Yi's face revealed a trace of a smile, but his thoughts were not calm. St. Mountain thought he was dead. Could it be that Lu Ruashi returned to Man City for the marriage? Even if he was still alive, St. Mountain could retreat whenever they wanted. Now that he was dead, there was nothing they could say. My grandson is not unworthy of anyone. Even if the marriage is to be broken, my Su family will be the first to do so. Old man Su Yun Tian patted Su Yi's shoulder and said, some things should be endured. One day, those people will regret it. Grandfather, go out and take a look. I still have some things to deal with. Please continue to seal this place after you go out. Su Yi said to old master Su Yun Tian and asked him to leave. He still had some matters to attend to. Don't worry. Just stay here. Old man Su Yun Tian nodded. Chapter 624. Are you a human or a demon? Your aura feels very familiar to me. Did you save me? The little bird was also sizing up Su Yi with an intimate and curious look. Su Yi reckoned that the little bird had hatched from its shell because of the mysterious space and the spiritual liquid in the spiritual pool. He nodded at the little bird and said, I'm a human, but I did save you. At least, I'm related to that. I see. The little bird seemed to have understood, but it also seemed like it did not. It was rather adorable. My head hurts. Su Yi felt a headache as he looked at the little bird in front of him. The little bird was naturally not an ordinary creature. It was almost certain that it was the young of a great demon. If news of it were to spread, it would cause a commotion in the world. Not to mention the Xinjiang Gate and the other mountain sects. Even the top forces like the Holy Mountain would definitely fight for it. Once the young of a great demon grew up, it would be a great demon in the future. How terrifying would that be? Who would not be tempted? Moreover, the mystic young golden demonic falcon, the wolf-headed demonic bat, the golden python, and the other barbaric demonic beasts immediately submitted to Ouyang Ming after obtaining benefits from the mysterious space. However, Su Yi was sizing up the little bird at that moment. It had clearly obtained great benefits from the mysterious space, but did not have the slightest intention of submitting to him. That was enough to prove that the little bird was extraordinary. There was no doubt that Su Yi wanted to subdue the young demon. As a soul controller, Su Yi knew some ways to subdue barbaric demonic beasts. There were also some extraordinary methods in the heavenly demonic ancient scripture that could easily subdue barbaric demonic beasts. However, Su Yi was a little wary of these methods. It was a young demon. Once it was exposed, the major forces of the human race would come to fight for it. He would not be able to protect it at all. On the other hand, if the demons, especially the little bird's race, found out that he had subdued such a young demon, they would definitely tear him into pieces without a doubt. He would not be able to escape, even if he fled to the ends of the earth. Are you trying to play tricks on me? The little bird stared at Su Yi as though it noticed something from Su Yi's eyes. No. How could I do anything bad to you? Su Yi smiled embarrassedly because he did not expect the little bird to be so shrewd. Don't try to lie to me. You humans like to deal with demons. The little bird stared at Su Yi as if it did not believe Su Yi. That's other humans, not me. You know that I saved you. Why would I do anything bad to you? Su Yi said while shaking his head. However, he was secretly smacking his lips. This little bird is really smart and not easy to deal with. That's true. You saved me. The little bird pondered and felt that Su Yi's words made sense. How about I discuss something with you? Su Yi looked at the little bird and rolled his eyes as if he had made up his mind. What do you say? The little bird flapped its wings, and its colorful tail feathers looked perfect and majestic. It's dangerous outside, and you're still too weak. I can take care of you, but when I grow up and become stronger, I'll be much more powerful than humans. You won't be able to take care of me. The little bird interrupted Su Yi mercilessly. Su Yi rolled his eyes and thought, this little bird is really arrogant. However, after thinking about it carefully, he realized that the little bird was indeed qualified to say something like that. Besides, he did not need to lower himself to the same level as a little bird. At least you're still very weak now, and you still need me to take care of you. Besides, you don't even know who you are now. Su Yi continued to talk to the mysterious little bird. What you said makes sense. The little bird thought about it seriously and felt that Su Yi was right. So, we can be together, and I can take care of you. Su Yi said to the little bird seriously, I'm actually the schoolmaster of Tian Yao School. What's Tian Yao School? Tian Yao School is a very powerful school. If you want, you can become the demon venerable of Tian Yao School, and you can control the whole Tian Yao School. Sounds pretty good. The little bird's clear and bright eyes rolled around, and it seemed to be very interested. However, if you want to become the demon venerable of Tian Yao School, you need to form a heavenly demon soul contract with the schoolmaster. By then, we'll be in each other, and we'll be able to take care of each other. Su Yi looked at the little bird and said seriously, Okay, I believe you. The little bird hesitated for a moment, and then nodded. It completely believed in Su Yi. Su Yi smiled. He didn't expect the little bird to agree so easily. He was very happy and continued. Forming a heavenly demon soul contract is very complicated, and you need to be very careful and concentrate. Otherwise, the consequences will be serious, and you'll hurt yourself as well. Then, after forming a heavenly demon soul contract, can you promise me one thing? The little bird looked at Su Yi and asked, What is it? Su Yi asked. As long as the little bird agreed to form a heavenly demon soul contract, as long as it could fulfill his request, it wouldn't be a problem. That talking radish just now looked very delicious. After we form a heavenly demon soul contract, can you let me have another bite? Just one bite, okay? As the little bird spoke, it seemed to remember the taste of the blood jade spirit ginseng again. It smacked its lips and looked like it was about to drool again. _, one bite? Okay, no problem. Su Yi was stunned, but he immediately agreed to this request without hesitation. After a while, in the mysterious space, Su Yi sat with his legs crossed and formed a handprint in his hand. The mysterious little bird flapped its beautiful wings and hovered in front of Su Yi. Its body was glowing as if it was on fire. Whoa, coo, coo! Ferocious birds flew across the sky, and the beasts roared thunderously as they rushed out of Man City. The majestic beast tide caused the mountains to collapse and the ground to crack. The entire Man City shook, and dust filled the sky. Oh no! A strong enemy is attacking. Clang, clang! The sharp and urgent sound of the bell echoed from the city tower. It was loud enough to spread to every corner of Man City. Get ready! On the city wall, the leaders of the 5 great clans and other big and small clans gathered with solemn looks on their faces. The disciples from the Sacred Mountain and Lu Ruashi also appeared on the city wall at this moment. They looked at the majestic beast tide in the distance with solemn looks on their faces. Rumble! Soon, the majestic beast tide appeared below the city wall. Chapter 6:25. Awoo! The barbaric beasts roared. One by one, barbaric beasts with astonishing sizes charged forward, causing the earth to tremble and the mountains to shake. They charged straight towards the barbarian city, causing chaos outside the barbarian city. Rumble! There were barbaric beasts ramming into the city walls, causing rumbling sounds to ring out. Luckily, The walls of the barbarian city were built with 10,000 gene boulders and were very sturdy. Normal barbaric beasts would not be able to shake it, but it would definitely not be able to withstand the constant ramming of so many barbaric beasts. Set the fire, City Lord Lu Zongyuan ordered. The disciples of the barbarian city who were still in shock and trembling on the city walls immediately lifted up large jars of fuel and poured out. Chila, there were torches that were immediately thrown down. Instantly, the fire boiled and burned fiercely. The fuel was not ordinary. It was able to burn Yuan Shi, and normal barbaric beasts were unable to withstand it. Awoo! Instantly, it was as if a sea of fire was boiling outside the city walls. The barbaric beasts roared and screamed as they charged everywhere. It was incomparably chaotic. There were vicious beasts that flapped their wings and dove down from the sky, filling the entire sky. Release! Lu Zongyuan's face was grave. His voice was like thunder, shaking the sky. Xiao Xiao. As Lu Zongyuan's voice fell, numerous crossbows appeared on the continuous city walls. They were all specially made and made of steel. They had long been prepared. One after another, sharp arrows pierced through the air and shot out. Woo-woo. In an instant, there were vicious beasts that were pierced through. Blood flowed out, and they fell from the sky, letting out cries of pain. But the numerous crossbows were unable to stop all the vicious beasts. Some vicious beasts had already dove down and passed through the defensive line of the city walls. Protect the barbarian city, kill. Lu Zongyuan gave a deep shout. Faint Yuan Qi curled around his body, and a faint green light also surged out from his eyes. All disciples of the Su family listen to my order, kill. PD, disciples of the Mo family listen to my order, kill. Disciples of the He family listen to my order, kill. Instantly, the leaders of the various large families shouted in unison. Within the various large families, there were origin spirit realm experts that flew out. Their Yuan Qi formed and rose into the air, wanting to block the vicious beasts outside the barbarian city. Kill. Some of the disciples from the barbarian city held crossbows in their hands. Their Yuan Qi surged as they released arrows from their bows. In the entire barbarian city, there were definitely not many people who could step into the origin spirit stage. Within the 5 great clans, those who were able to step foot into the origin spirit realm were only some old people and experts. There were too few essence spirit realm practitioners in Barbarian City, and they were far from being able to stop these ferocious birds. Some ferocious birds quickly broke through the layers of obstacles and appeared in Man City. Be careful. Kill. At this moment, behind the city wall, the disciples of the big families and the young men of the barbarian city were densely packed, holding their weapons tightly. It was everyone's responsibility to protect the barbarian city. Seeing the ferocious birds swooping down, all of them channeled their Yuan Qi and charged forward. Chila, a ferocious crimson bird, several feet in size, with feathers as sharp as blades and claws as sharp as hooks, swooped down and grabbed the steel saber in the hands of a young disciple of the barbarian city. Its sharp beak was like an arrow, piercing through the young disciple's forehead. Clang! Clang! A black ferocious bird flapped its wings, its feathers clanging in the midst of the weapons as it swept through everything. Sparks flew, and several people were directly cut in half. Blood spurted out like a fountain as their bodies were cut into pieces. It was extremely bloody. Many ferocious birds charged forward, causing a commotion among the crowd, and miserable cries could be heard. Form a joint attack formation. Encircle and annihilate these ferocious birds. Some elders shouted. They had experienced a bloody battle 20 years ago and had more experience than the current young disciples. Their cultivation base was not enough to transform their Yuan Qi, but they could form a joint attack formation to stop and annihilate these ferocious birds. Immediately, with the 5 great clans as the leader, many joint attack formations were formed to encircle and annihilate these ferocious birds. Even so, they were still unable to stop all the ferocious birds. People were constantly being killed, and blood dyed the streets red. Below the city wall, The barbaric beasts roared endlessly, and miserable cries could be heard as flames soared into the sky. Rumble. However, in this chaos, the barbaric beast's rampage caused the city wall to shake, and cracks began to appear. Coup! Outside the barbarian city, ferocious birds flapped their wings and flew out. On top of these birds, figures stood, emitting a chilling aura. Swoosh, swoosh. There were figures flying in from outside the barbarian city, and there were thousands of them. At the front, there were many people riding on ferocious barbaric beasts. Their aura was ferocious, and one could clearly feel that there were cultivators at the Yuan Zhen realm. There were even more at the Yuan spirit realm. At the front, there were a dozen figures with chilling gazes. The aura on their bodies was even more powerful, and they were most likely close to the Yuan void realm. In front of this group of people, there were several figures that did not have any Yuan Qi transformation, but were floating in the air. This meant that these people had all stepped into the true void origin stage. Undying sect, it really is the undying sect. When they saw the figures walking out from afar, the elders of the various great clans on the city wall instantly cried out in surprise. 20 years ago, it was the undying sect that invaded the barbarian city. In that bloody battle, there were countless deaths, and corpses were strewn everywhere. Blood flowed like water, and it was still vivid in the minds of many people in the barbarian city. Undying sect. Lu Zhongyan, Su Jingting, Immortal, and the others looked into the distance, and their eyes were extremely serious. This time, the undying sect had come prepared. Just these people from the undying sect, the barbarian city was already unable to stop them. The experts in the barbarian city had already been wiped out 20 years ago, not to mention that there was an army of barbarian beasts right now. In the depths of the void, two figures quietly appeared. It was the demon emperor, known as the Green Emperor, and the black-robed, short-haired man. The black-robed, short-haired man's gaze was gloomy. He swept his gaze over the people below, and the corners of his eyes carried a slight sneer. Everyone in the barbarian city, listen up. Those who surrender will not be killed. Otherwise, today we will flatten the barbarian city and bathe you all in blood. The black-robed, short-haired man looked at the barbarian city in front of him, where the flames soared into the sky. Miserable cries and wails resounded throughout the barbarian city. His cold shout, mixed with Yuan Qi, was like thunder that resounded through the entire barbarian city, reverberating in every corner of the city. That is, it seems to be the vice-sect leader of the undying sect, Zhuba Yi, who escaped 20 years ago. Looking at the black-robed, short-haired man, many people from the various great clans recognized him and could not help but tremble. 20 years ago, the sect leader of the undying sect was killed by the old man Su Yun Tian, and the vice-sect leader Zhuba Yi escaped. No one would have thought that he would appear again. As expected, it is the undying sect. On the city wall, Su Jingting's expression became even more serious. In the battle 20 years ago, he was also present, so he knew that these people from the undying sect were powerful. Zhuba Yi, your undying sect still dares to invade my barbarian city. An old man from the Lu family shouted. He looked very old, and he was the only remaining expert of the Lu family who was close to the origin void realm. The bloody battle 20 years ago was still vivid in his mind. A group of ants. The current barbarian city can't even withstand a single blow from you. Chapter 6:26. Bathe barbarian city in blood. Instantly, the Yuan Qi of the undying sect disciples soared into the sky, gathering together. A terrifying aura surged, filled with a murderous aura. Kill! Thousands of people shouted, rushing towards the city gate, rushing into the clouds and shaking the barbarian city. Flatten everything. The experts of the undying sect moved, a terrifying aura erupting from their bodies. Several figures of the Yuan void realm took the lead to rush towards the city gate, Yuan Qi crazily surging, wanting to blast open the city gate. Protect our barbarian city, fight with them. The head of the Mo family, Mo Lai, shouted loudly. His figure instantly jumped down from the city wall, enveloped in Yuan Qi. The aura of the Yuan true stage surged out, and the Yuan Qi under his feet formed a falcon that soared into the sky. Kill. Several Yuan spirit stage experts of the Mo family also formed Yuan Qi and soared into the sky. Kill. The head of the He family and the head of the Song family also did not retreat, charging out with the Yuan spirit stage experts of the two families. Although the five great families had their differences in the barbarian city, they had always been united against outsiders and had never had any big conflicts. Especially the bloody battle 20 years ago, it made the entire barbarian city especially united. Protect our barbarian city. At this moment, the Su clan and Lu clan's origin spirit realm and above cultivators didn't cower in the slightest as they followed closely behind. Head of the Su family, can you call the old man out of seclusion? Lu Zongyuan's expression was incomparably serious as he asked Su Jingting. The situation in front of them was already very clear. Today, if the old man was not here, the barbarian city would not be a match. I've already sent people to invite him. Su Jingting's serious expression was not much better than Lu Zongyuan's. How could he not understand the current situation? But this was the first time the old man had ordered to go into seclusion. It was not something that could be casually disturbed. Right now, they could only hope that the old man could come out of seclusion himself. There's an expert. I'm afraid there will be some trouble. On the city wall, the beautiful middle-aged woman from the sacred mountain had a serious expression, but when she saw Ba Yi and the green-clothed figure beside him, her expression became completely serious. Under the formless aura, she understood in her heart that it was an expert. Especially the green-clothed figure, the aura on his body made her feel danger. Ruashi, leave with the deacon first, Lu Zongyuan said to Lu Ruashi with a serious expression. The great battle had already begun. Miserable shrieks and howls filled the air. He was originally happy that his daughter had returned, but the undying sect had made a comeback. At this moment, Lu Zongyuan wished that his daughter had never returned. Now that his daughter and the deacon of the Holy Mountain had left first, he still had a chance to escape. If the undying sect's experts and barbarian beasts were to completely break through the city walls, it would be too late for them to leave. Man City is in trouble. As a disciple of the Lu clan, how can I leave at this time? Lu Ruashi shook her head. She looked around at the roaring battles that were taking place one after another. Some people had already died, and blood was spurting everywhere. Her brows were tightly knitted together, and her gaze turned sharp. You haven't become an expert yet. Even if you stay, you won't be of much help. If you don't leave now, it will be too late. Lu Zongyin gestured and commanded the soldiers on the city walls to defend against the enemy. Numerous crossbows were fired, and the flames on the city walls roared, blocking the majority of the demonic beasts. Father, there's no need to say anymore. Your daughter is a member of Man City. How can I abandon Man City and my family? How can I let people kill the disciples of Man City? Kill my clansmen? As her voice fell, a blazing fire attribute Yuan Qi surged from Lu Ruashi's body. In the void behind her, a ferocious bird flapped its wings and flew out. Lu Ruashi jumped onto the ferocious bird and soared into the void. Her gaze was cold, and a fingerprint shot out from her hand. Whoosh! The fingerprint broke through the void, and the aura was blazing. A ferocious bird's wing was directly pierced through. With a miserable shriek, it fell from the sky. Saintus, be careful. The middle-aged woman's expression changed. Her figure soared into the sky and instantly arrived beside Lu Ruashi. A few disciples of the Holy Mountain formed Yuan Qi under their feet and immediately followed behind, protecting Lu Ruashi. People of the Undying Sect, listen up. The disciples of the Holy Mountain are here. Whoever dares to be impudent, quickly retreat. Otherwise, you'll have to bear the consequences. The middle-aged woman's expression was grave. She slightly clenched her teeth, and a voice that was accompanied by Yuan Qi spread out like thunder. Holy Mountain. When these two words fell, many people from the Undying Sect instinctively trembled. Above the void, Zhu-Ba-Yi, and the Green Emperor's expression changed. Holy Mountain. Just these two words were enough to make people tremble. Whoosh whoosh, Zhu-Ba-Yi and the Green Emperor swept out and appeared above the barbarian city in a flash. Two invisible chi spread out and shrouded the city. Their gazes fell on the middle-aged woman, Lu Ruashi, and the other disciples of the Holy Mountain. Is there only a few of you from the Holy Mountain? The mountain is high and the water is far away. Even if you're really from the Holy Mountain, you can't control this place. No one will know anything even if I kill you. Zhu-Ba-Yi sneered. He did not put these disciples of the Holy Mountain in his eyes. Although he was afraid of the Holy Mountain, no one could stop him from killing his way into the barbarian city today. These disciples of the Holy Mountain were all killed, and no one would know anything at that time. How dare you? Wait until the experts of the Holy Mountain come. Your little undying sect will be razed to the ground. You will die without a burial place. The middle-aged woman clenched her teeth and shouted, "Umph! Don't use the Holy Mountain to scare me. Bitch, you're courting death." Zhu-Ba-Yi snorted. His eyes flickered with cold light. He stomped his foot and rushed out. A palm print followed closely behind. The Holy Mountain will raze your undying sect to the ground. The middle-aged woman's expression greatly changed. She secretly clenched her teeth, and the yuan qi in her body soared. A resplendent light screen spread out as she met the attack with her palm. Bang! A muffled sound like thunder rang out. The middle-aged woman's body was directly pushed back. A muffled groan came out of her throat. She seemed to have suffered a great loss in one move. So that's all you've got. You're overestimating yourself. Kill. Zhu-Ba-Yi's cold laughter rang out. The powerful qi on his body fluctuated. The cold yin-yuan qi burst out from his body and lingered in the air, causing the sky above the city wall to change color. Kill without mercy. Kill. The experts of the Undying Sect had already appeared. They condensed their hand seals and rays of light surged. Each of them shot out a yuan qi energy light beam and fiercely hit the city wall and city gate. Oh, several powerful barbaric beasts. Their bodies were as huge as mountains. They roared like thunder and erupted with a terrifying aura. Their valiance was not inferior to these experts of the Undying Sect. They also ruthlessly smashed into the city wall. Rumble. The entire city wall trembled and cracked. Huge rocks split open and rolled down. A hole also appeared on the thick city gate. It couldn't withstand the attacks of the experts of the Undying Sect and the barbaric beasts and was instantly destroyed. Rumble. The city wall collapsed. Countless huge rocks fell down. Many people were also buried by the falling rocks. Dang dang. Be careful. Chapter 6:27. Wash the barbarian city with blood. Kill without mercy. Kill. Numerous cold cries that were filled with murderous intent resounded from outside the city as they looked at the collapsing city walls and the collapsing city gates. They shot straight to the clouds. Wash the barbarian city with blood. Oh! As the city walls crumbled, the barbarian beast army and the Undying Sect members moved together. Yuan qi exploded, golden spears resounded, and beast roars were like thunder. Killing intent surged and engulfed the entire barbarian city. Su family. Old man Su Yuntian walked out of the mysterious space. He formed a seal with his hands, opened the seal, and pushed the door open. Master, you finally came out of seclusion. Old man Su Yuntian pushed the door open and saw the old servant waiting outside the courtyard. The servant's face was filled with panic and anxiety. Oh, whoa. In the sky, a shocking beast roar came from outside the city. It reverberated above the barbarian city, causing people to tremble in fear. What's going on? Old man Su Yuntian's face changed greatly. Using his invisible soul, he sensed that something big had happened outside. The Undying Sect members are coming back. The old servant said, "You stay here and guard. No one is allowed to enter the room." Old man Su Yuntian's voice fell. His figure hurriedly rushed out as if he had turned into an afterimage, instantly disappearing from his original spot. In a mysterious space, Su-yi formed a seal with his hands. Light emitted from his hands and gradually enveloped the little bird in front of him. Su-yi pondered for a long time. He didn't dare to casually tame a young great demon. If the demon race knew about it, not only the little bird's race, but the other demon race experts would also attack him. In the heavenly demon ancient scripture, there was a heavenly demon soul contract. Only those who cultivated the heavenly demon ancient scripture could form a heavenly demon soul contract with the demon race. The heavenly demon soul contract could be with barbarian beasts, spiritual beings, and any demon race. According to the rules of the Tian Yao school, the other party who formed the heavenly demon soul contract would be the demon venerable of the Tian Yao school. The heavenly demon soul contract and the heavenly demon soul contract complemented each other. Both parties needed to leave a soul in the other party's mind to form the soul contract. Once the heavenly demon soul contract was successfully condensed, it was equivalent to connecting the two together. At that time, they would be able to communicate with each other and have a tacit understanding of their souls. They could even comprehend each other's knowledge. More importantly, after forming a heavenly demon soul contract, if the two of them worked together, their power would multiply. The little bird hovered in front of Su-yi and was enveloped by the light. Its gaze was intimate and clear. It was an invisible intimacy. It completely trusted Su-yi. Forming a heaven-demon soul contract, if one didn't completely trust the other party, it would be impossible to successfully form it. This was related to the connection between the two parties' souls. Even if the two of them completely trusted each other, there was still great danger involved. If either of them made a mistake, the consequences would be grave. Su-yi was completely focused, not daring to be careless. This was the first time he was setting up this heavenly demon soul contract. If he made a mistake, he knew the consequences. As the mysterious hand seal was formed, a faint red light shot out from between Su-yi's eyebrows, as if it had materialized. It slowly hovered between the little bird's eyebrows. This was a wisp of Su-yi's soul power. Under the heavenly origin demon soul, Su-yi's soul carried a blazing red color. It floated in the vacuum and emitted a red glow. The mystic sun golden demonic falcon and the wolf-headed demonic bat were far away. When they sensed Su-yi's wisp of red soul power, for some reason, they trembled and felt uneasy. If there were powerhouses present at this moment, they would definitely be dumbfounded. A Yuan spirit realm cultivator's soul power was so powerful that it could materialize. Even cultivators at the later stages of the Yuanjin realm could not compare to this. Even if there were soul controllers present, they would still be shocked to feel such soul power. Soul controllers at the same level could not compare to this terrifying soul power at all. When his soul entered the little bird's body, Su-yi could see that it was like a vast sea of fire. The blazing flames were accompanied by a multicolored glow. Buzz, buzz! The sound of wind and thunder resounded in the sea of fire. The ripples caused the blue clothes to emit a sonorous sound. Boom! Suddenly, as if it sensed Su-yi's soul approaching, the calm sea of fire suddenly surged with raging flames. Coo! In an instant, a hissing sound pierced through the clouds and cracked rocks. It was as if it had surpassed the ancient times. It was mysterious and terrifying, causing one's heart to tremble. Whoosh! Blazing waves of fire swept towards Su-yi's soul like a raging tide. Su-yi's expression changed. His soul quickly retreated. The Origin Supreme technique immediately spread from his body. A domineering and destructive aura rushed out and connected with his soul. Whoosh! When Su-yi's soul was filled with the Origin Supreme technique's aura, the raging sea of fire seemed to have sensed something. It immediately calmed down and retreated at the same time. Rumble! In the sea of fire, waves surged. Suddenly, there was a mist rising and a dazzling multicolored glow. The mist and multicolored glow fused together. The waves of fire rippled, and a gorgeous rainbow appeared. Finally, within the sea of fire, an incomparably huge beast figure appeared, and an earth-shattering voice resounded. Coo! The The shadow of a divine bird immediately spread its wings in the sea of fire. It was filled with a rainbow light and looked disdainfully at the world. The divine bird's shadow was shrouded in a misty and chaotic light. A terrifying aura was extremely shocking. The beast's shadow was completely real. The rainbow light filled the air, and the raging flames surged. It was as if it had surpassed the ancient times. The beast's shadow could connect heaven and earth. Its eyes seemed to contain a sea of fire. Many shadows of ancient giant beasts sank into its eyes and disappeared in a flash. RX, this is... So he was shocked. This divine bird was very similar to the phantom of the divine bird skeleton that he had seen in the battlefield of 10,000 swords. However, this beast's shadow was more majestic and its aura was stronger. It was as if it could look down on heaven and earth and suppress millions of people. This terrifying aura made Sue-E feel that perhaps it was a real phoenix. This was in the little bird's mind and soul. Could the little bird's true form really be a phoenix? Sue could not help but exclaim in his heart. At this moment, the beast's shadow was looking down on everything, as if it could look down on heaven and earth. However, the phoenix was rumored to have been buried in the ancient times, or even the ancient times. It no longer existed in this world and disappeared in the long river of time. Could the little bird's true form really be a phoenix that had disappeared? Coo! When a shadow appeared, the entire space became extremely hot. The beast's shadow spread its wings, and a torrential flame suddenly swept out in all directions. It was as if it could burn all living things. With such a blazing aura, Su-Yi's heavenly origin demonic soul also felt the throbbing. Chapter 628. Believe me, I won't hurt you. In this life, my parents' whereabouts are unknown. Only my grandfather has formed a heavenly beast soul contract with you. We'll support each other and depend on each other. From now on, you're Su-Yi's brother. Su-Yi's voice echoed through the little bird's soul. The huge beast shadow stared at Su. After a while, the aura on its body gradually calmed down. A woo! Bang, bang, bang. Protect the barbarian city. Inside the barbarian city, chaos ensued. The beasts roared like thunder. Kill! The undying sect and the barbarian beast army rushed into the barbarian city like a tidal wave. They immediately started fighting with the disciples of the barbarian city. The barbarian beasts roared. All kinds of muffled sounds of energy resounded. After a few sounds, the black mass of beasts collided with each other. Kill! Fight! Fight with them! Kill! Shocking murderous aura filled the sky. Blood splattered everywhere and miserable cries rang out. All the old, weak, women, and children retreat. Quick! The barbarian city had already made preparations. A large group of people covered the old, weak, women, and children as they retreated. Oh, Guji! Ferocious birds pounced over. The barbarian beasts roared and charged. Bastards, fight with them! The disciples of the barbarian city roared. They wanted to protect their homes and loved ones. Kill! Inside the barbarian city, swords, spears, and sabers collided with each other. Sparks flew everywhere and blood flowed like a river. Figures flashed and beasts roared. The sharp blades collided with each other. Golden spears exploded. Along with the muffled sounds of energy colliding with each other, it caused people's hair to stand on end. A bloody battle had begun. You destroyed my home. We're also part of the barbarian city. We won't leave. We want to kill the enemy. We won't leave. In the barbarian city, some youths cried out in grief. After seeing their loved ones die in battle and their homes destroyed, the fear in their hearts was replaced by anger. Their blood surged and they didn't retreat far. Kill, we won't leave. Immediately, all the disciples of the barbarian city who had cultivation, regardless of whether they were old or weak, joined the resistance. However, they were still unable to stop the massacre in the Flowing Cloud County. However, there were too many barbarian beasts. Although the Undying sect didn't have many people, only a few thousand of them, their strength was much stronger than the disciples of the barbarian city. Furthermore, the undying sex experts in barbarian beasts were not something Barbarian City could stop. In a short period of time, the entire barbarian city was dyed red with blood. Blood flowed like a river. The degree of bloodshed was even worse than the war 20 years ago. This time, the undying sect made a comeback with an army of barbarian beasts. It was purely a massacre, a bloody massacre. Golden spears clashed, killing intent overflowed to the heavens, and mournful screams resounded incessantly. Cool Craftsman VY, the only 9-8 genuine asterisk L, F, others asterisk, R, H. It was 2 pirated version 4. Bastard, I'm not done with you. Lu Ruashi's eyes were filled with rage and killing intent as she looked at the streets that had turned into rivers of blood in an instant. Her clansmen and city disciples were slaughtered, and even the air was filled with the pungent smell of blood. Kill! The ferocious bird that Lu Ruashi rode swooped down. Her red dress fluttered in the wind, and her body was wrapped in a blazing aura. Swish! The ferocious bird spread its wings, and its sharp claws were like hooks. It instantly tore 2 undying sect members into pieces. Kill! An undying sect's origin spirit realm cultivator, who had condensed his energy into a human form, was directly killed by Lu Ruashi leaping off the back of the ferocious bird. A fingerprint pierced through his chest. At the same time, Lu Ruashi's beautiful figure landed on the ground. Her red dress was stained with blood. She instantly grasped a curved saber in each of her hands. Kill! Lu Ruashi's beautiful face was filled with killing intent. She bit her red lips, and a saber light swept out. Her treasured saber hummed. Swish, swish, swish. The saber light swept out like a crescent moon, and it became faster and faster. It swept up the gravel and fallen leaves on the ground, as if it had condensed into a hurricane. Several undying sect members and 2 barbarian beasts were also cut into pieces by Lu Ruashi. The saber light spun through the air. Lu Ruashi's beautiful figure was as graceful as a young swallow. Her twin sabers were also flashing like lightning. The crescent moon saber light flickered and merged with her beautiful figure. Wherever she passed, the saber light and blood shadow were left behind. She was invincible and unstoppable. The scarlet saber light and the beautiful figure in red complemented each other. Lu Ruashi was furious. The undying sect and these barbarian beasts were cruel and bloody. There were millions of ordinary citizens in the barbarian city, and they were powerless to resist. It would be a hellish nightmare when the time came. Be careful. Several Sacred Mountains disciples immediately followed behind Lu Ruashi in order to avoid any major changes. Seems like her status isn't low. Capture that woman for me. I want her alive. Zhu Ba sneered. He could also see that the red-clothed girl seemed to have an extraordinary status. His voice spread out. Bastard. The Sacred Mountain's middle-aged woman's complexion changed greatly. She became incomparably dignified and immediately rushed over. You lowly servants still want to run away? Since you're somewhat beautiful, I'll capture you too. You can accompany me when the time comes. I don't know if the women of Sacred Mountain are more ecstatic. Gigi. Zhu Bai laughed sinisterly. His figure crossed the air and immediately blocked the middle-aged woman's path. The Green Emperor stood in the sky. His gaze was gloomy and cold. It seemed like he had no intention of making a move. The Green Emperor narrowed his eyes as if he was searching for something. The previous movements in the city made him feel that the barbarian city was not a simple place. Kill. The members of the major clans rose to resist. However, it was getting more and more difficult for them to resist. It also stimulated their courage to fight to the death. Su family's disciples, kill them, Su Baihan shouted. His expression was fierce, and his eyes were bloodshot. None of the experts of the major clans retreated. They were all engaged in a bloody battle. People fell one after another. Miserable wails were unceasingly heard, especially the army of barbarian beasts. Wherever they passed, everything was flattened. Ayo! A blood wolf howled. It was several feet large and charged out from the front. Its entire body was covered in a bloody light, releasing a bloody aura. The fur on its body was like sharp needles. It opened its bloody mouth and directly swallowed a person, revealing a pair of legs that had been bitten off, blood gushing out. No, the group of people were terrified. The person that was swallowed was their family. A huge, single-horned barbarian beast with a monstrous aura. Its entire body was covered in flames, and its aura was ruthless. Its four hooves were like pillars, flattening everything in its path. There were vicious beasts baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Their eyes were blood red, and they were ruthless and bloodthirsty. Wherever they passed, people would be torn into pieces. The army of barbarian beasts was fierce. With their sharp claws and bloody fangs, they destroyed life after life. It made the barbarian city seem like it was going to become a purgatory. All the cultivators of the origin spirit realm and above in the barbarian city were blocked at this moment. They were surrounded and killed by the experts of the undying sect and the barbarian beasts. They were powerless to interfere and could not even protect themselves. Old, weak women and children quickly leave. Leave behind the bloodline of the barbarian city. Lu Zongyuan's eyes were blood red as he roared in anger. This was already a tragedy that could not be stopped. Is the heavens punishing us? I beg the heavens to let these women and children go. There was an old man who did not understand cultivation who roared in grief, praying to the heavens. There were children who were sobbing in fear. Gee, a vicious beast broke through the last line of defense and charged into the center of the barbarian city. There were all the ordinary disciples of the barbarian city. The old, weak women and children were gathered. Its sharp claws were like hooks. Its eyes were bloodthirsty, and its aura was frightening. It swooped down. Save me. Chapter 629. The vicious bird's eyes were ruthless and bloodthirsty. These humans were not its opponent at all. However, just as its sharp claws were about to grab the head of the human leader, the ferocious bird's eyes suddenly changed. Its body suddenly felt as if it was being restrained. The beast's soul shuddered and suddenly raised its head. In its ferocious eyes, a tall and old figure had already appeared in front of it. A fist filled with light had already landed on the head of the ferocious bird. Bang! A muffled sound spread out. The vicious bird's head immediately caved in. Its skull cracked and blood splashed out. It was killed in an instant. That person managed to survive in despair. It was difficult for him to regain his senses. His gaze trembled fiercely and his legs went soft. This kind of sudden unforeseen event caused everyone to be shocked. One by one, they looked at the figure that suddenly appeared. An old man appeared and floated at a low altitude. There was no energy under his feet. His aged body gave people a feeling of youthful vigor. His long white hair fluttered in the wind. The wrinkles on his face had disappeared an unknown time. His face became rosy and lustrous. One could faintly see the clear outline of a young man. Grandpa Sue, it's Grandpa Sue. Grandpa Sue is here. We are saved. When this kind of old man appeared, everyone was stunned. From the fear and despair, it was as if they saw the flickering light of hope. One by one, their gazes were filled with reverence. When the undying sect invaded, it was Grandpa Sue who beheaded the enemy in front of the battle. That scene was still vivid in everyone's mind. The youngsters of Barbarian City had also heard of that kind of story since they were young. Everyone's eyes were trembling as they were overwhelmed with emotions. Old Master Sue had finally appeared. They were saved. Grandpa Sue has come out of seclusion. In the bloody battle at the front, someone felt the movement behind them. When they turned around and saw that familiar figure, they couldn't help but exclaim, "It's the old patriarch." The Sue family's disciples were even more excited. Their old patriarch had finally appeared. Grandpa Sue is here. Let's kill. Let's fight with them. Looking at old Master Su Yuntian's silhouette, the disciples of the barbarian city and the disciples of the various large clans felt as if their hearts had been injected with a stimulant. In the midst of despair and anger, they erupted with strength. Those who had not seen it with their own eyes, but had heard of old Master Su Yuntian's appearance at this moment, were also boiling with excitement. Their bodies erupted with power that surpassed the usual. It's the old master. Lu Zhengyin, Su Jingting, Mo Lai, and the other experts from the various great clans all stared at the familiar figure from afar. Amidst their despair and grief, a glimmer of hope also appeared. Ku! Su Yuntian's countenance turned solemn as a powerful aura gushed forth from his body. His silhouette flashed as a terrifying aura exploded forth. The vicious bird cried out. It was unknown what happened, but it was directly killed and fell from the sky. Old Master Su Yuntian stepped into the air. His figure was tall and straight. His cloud robe fluttered in the wind. Light surged in his eyes, giving people a kind of majesty. His white hair danced in the wind as his gaze swept across the ground. He became increasingly solemn. When he saw the familiar black-robed, short-haired figure in front of him, his gaze slightly trembled. His voice was mixed with Yuan Qi as he roared, "Zhu Ba Yi, you still dare to invade my barbarian city." Pung pung. A low muffled sound rang out. The shadow of a strange beast under Attendant Wang's feet directly shattered. A mouthful of blood spurted out from her mouth. The middle-aged woman's graceful body was sent flying in the air. Her complexion was already deathly pale. Zhu Baiyi's body only slightly swayed. He was leisurely and contented, as if he had not used his full strength. He wanted to slowly attack. Otherwise, Attendant Wang would have already been unable to resist. Hearing the deafening sound, Zhu Baiyi did not continue to chase after Attendant Wang. He turned his head and looked at the familiar figure in front of him. His pupils could not help but slightly shrink. "Su Yuntian, you are not injured?" Zhu Baiyi was very surprised. He had received the news that Su Yuntian had been severely injured. He was afraid that Su Yuntian would not be able to hold on anymore. That was why he came to Barbarian City. However, at this moment, he felt that Su Yuntian's qi did not seem to be injured at all. He could not help but be surprised. The Undying Sect is not giving up. Last time you escaped. Today, I am afraid that you will not be so lucky. Old man Su Yuntian's eyes darkened. Last time, Zhu Bai escaped. 20 years later, the Undying Sect made a comeback. You're only at the Origin Void Realm. I am afraid that you are not strong enough. After being surprised for a while, Zhu Bai came back to his senses. Not to mention that the Green Emperor was here this time. Su Yuntian was only at the Origin Void Realm. Among the Origin Void Realm, he did not need to be afraid of many people. Let's deal with that old thing first. Zhu Bai waved his hand, his voice resounding through the air. Although he was confident and felt no fear from Su Yuntian's aura, he didn't know why, but he was clearly afraid. After all, he still had lingering fear from the scene of the 20-year battle. Bang! Instantly, 3 Origin Void Realm cultivators of the Undying Sect soared into the sky. 3 figures were enveloped in light and floated in the air like 3 brilliant suns. One was at the 3rd level of the Origin Void Realm. One was at the 2nd level of the Origin Void Realm, and the strongest was at the 5th level of the Origin Void Realm. They locked on an old man, Su Yuntian, in unison. When the 3 Origin Void Realm auras locked onto him, old man Su Yuntian's face sank slightly. As he listened to the shrill cries and bloody battles in the surroundings, a strand of coldness flashed past his eyes as he said, "Kill." As soon as he finished speaking, old man Su Yuntian's figure had already flashed out. His origin energy exploded out, and his aura at the 3rd level of the Origin Void Realm wasn't held back in the slightest. It carried an extremely dignified aura. Light suffused his palm, and then an origin energy light pillar gushed out. It formed a storm vortex that swept towards the weakest cultivator at the 2nd level of the Origin Void Realm on the left. Old man Su Yuntian wanted to deal with the weakest first. Once he dealt with any Origin Void Realm cultivator, he would be able to reduce the slaughter of the Barbarian City disciples. The strongest cultivator at the 5th level of the Origin Void Realm had hawk-like eyes and a hooked nose. He looked to be in his 60s, and his expression was gloomy. He would not allow old man Su Yuntian to do as he wished. His figure was like a bolt of lightning as he directly blocked old man Su Yuntian's path, and a fist print blasted out. When faced with the Undying Sect's 5th level Origin Void Realm cultivator's instantaneous block, old man Su Yuntian seemed to have predicted it in his heart. His expression was calm, but he secretly gritted his teeth and his heart was heavy. He stretched out his palm and abruptly clenched it, causing the vortex to transform into a fist that blasted out to greet the attack. Rumble. The two fists collided, instantly causing a muffled sound to ring out in the sky. A large expanse of space surged as a shocking energy swept out in all directions and spread out. Stomp! Chapter 630. At this moment, the Undying Sect's 5th level Origin Void stage cultivator's expression changed drastically. His opponent was at the 3rd level Origin Void stage, and he, with his 5th level Origin Void stage cultivation base, actually didn't gain any advantage. Instead, he suffered a hidden loss. How could this not shock him? Above the sky, the Green Emperor stepped on the sky, and his gaze fell on Su Yuntian. When he saw this result, there was a strange expression in his eyes. He said to Zhu Ba, who was beside him, "It's this person who killed your Undying sect leader back then." "That's right, it's this person. His cultivation base isn't too strong, and he wasn't even at the Origin Void stage 20 years ago, but he killed my Undying sect leader and many experts." Strange. Zhu Ba was visibly moved. When he saw that even the 5th level Origin Void stage expert from his sect had suffered a hidden loss, his eyes that already contained fear couldn't help but become even more serious. 20 years ago, it was precisely this Su Yuntian who hadn't even stepped foot into the Origin Void stage. Yet he killed numerous experts from the Undying Sect and the Undying Sect Master. It was truly too strange. This little barbaric city is really interesting. Looking at the tall and straight white-haired figure, the Green Emperor said indifferently, "If the Green Emperor makes a move, he'll definitely be able to kill this old fellow. At that time, he'll be able to control this barbaric city and slowly search for the extraordinary place." Zhu Baiyi's gaze moved secretly as he said to the Green Emperor with a hidden meaning, "There's no hurry. Let's watch first," the Green Emperor said as he stepped on the sky and watched everything. But he didn't intend to make a move hastily. Zhu Baiyi's gaze moved secretly as he looked at the familiar figure. He also had a deep sense of fear, as if he didn't dare to make a move easily. The shock from 20 years ago was still vivid in his mind, and it was too shocking. Su Yuntian himself was surprised when he blasted his opponent back with a punch. He had a certain understanding of his own strength. He knew that there was a transformation from the inside to the outside in that mysterious space. His bones and marrow were cleansed, and he felt like a butterfly breaking out of its cocoon. He knew that he was no longer the same as before, but he didn't expect himself to be so strong. A strand of blazing aura and a strand of cold aura swept out from his left and right. Along with the Undying Sect's 5th level Origin Void stage cultivator being blasted back, the 3rd level Origin Void stage and 2nd level Origin Void stage cultivators instantly arrived for his left and right. Fight! Facing the pincer attack from both sides, old man Su Yuntian roared. Waving his hand, his vital energy erupted, and the shadows of beasts began to condense in front of him. Kill! Fight to the end. Protect my man's city. Seeing old man Su Yuntian fighting the Undying Sect's experts without falling into a disadvantageous position, the barbarian city's disciples and other major clans' disciples below were even more excited. They were fighting a bloody battle with the Undying Sect's disciples. In the void, the sea of fire rippled. A 7-colored beast shadow had shrunk to the size of a baby. It floated in front of Su Yi, exuding a dignified aura. Its eyes were clear and affectionate. The divine phoenix, it's the divine phoenix. Ling Qianxue's voice trembled as it resounded out in Su Yi's ears. Within the mysterious space, Su Yi's hand seals condensed and withdrew, and the aura on his body gradually calmed down. He finally managed to form a heavenly demon soul contract. The divine phoenix. When he heard Ling Qianxue's words, Su Yi opened his eyes, and his gaze instantly locked onto the little bird before him. At this moment, the little bird was even more intimate than before, and it seemed to have formed some sort of connection with Su Yi. It curiously looked at Su Yi, and its clear voice carried a childish tone as it said, "Who are you talking to? There's someone in my body, and I'm talking to her." Su Yi naturally didn't have anything to hide from the little bird. After they formed a heavenly demon soul contract, it was as if they would live and die together, and it was sufficient to trust each other. I seem to have sensed it as well. It's the aura of the demon clan, the little bird said seriously as it blinked its eyes. Are you sure this is the real divine phoenix? Su Yi couldn't help but tremble with excitement. Wasn't the divine phoenix already buried in the passage of time? If this was the real divine phoenix, it would be great. Thinking that he had formed a heavenly demon soul contract with a divine phoenix, Su Yi's heart couldn't help but beat wildly. The divine phoenix was the supreme being of the demon clan, and even the great demons would have to bow down to it. Of course it's the divine phoenix, the real divine phoenix. It can't be wrong. A unspecified currency. Hashtag Ling Qianxue's voice was also trembling uncontrollably. As a member of the demon clan, she knew what the phoenix divine bird represented. The legendary phoenix divine bird had actually appeared in front of her. If the demon clan knew about this, it would definitely cause a huge uproar. Countless great demons would come to pay a visit. The divine phoenix. Su Yi trembled. No matter how good his state of mind was, he couldn't help but feel ecstatic at this moment. Thinking about it carefully, the egg came from the mysterious space in the battlefield of 10,000 swords, and was obtained from a skeleton of the dark divine phoenix. Its origin was already mysterious, and at this moment, this could indeed be a real divine phoenix. The divine phoenix, it's so familiar. I seem to be a divine phoenix. Hearing Su Yi's words, the little bird also muttered, but it seemed to be affected by something, and its mind was a little confused. Little bird, are you a boy or a girl? No, are you a boy or a girl? Su Yi's face was full of smiles as he looked at the little bird in front of him and asked. He couldn't help but feel excited when he thought about the fact that he had a baby divine phoenix beside him. I'm a boy, a boy. You're a boy, and I'm not called Little Bird. The little bird rolled its eyes at Su Yi and said snappily, If you're not called Little Bird, then what should I call you? Su Yi didn't mind and asked the little bird with a happy smile. I don't know. I don't seem to have a name. The little bird shook its head and said, Xiaofeng. Su Xiaofeng, a bit like Lu Xiaofeng. Su Yi muttered and wanted to give the little bird a name. Who is Lu Xiaofeng? The little bird curiously asked. A man with a beard that looks like eyebrows. Su Yi said and looked at the little bird. He suddenly said, How about Little Handsome? How about Little Handsome, Su? When you grow up, you'll definitely be handsome and charming by my side. So let's call you Little Handsome, Su. Thinking about a divine phoenix following him in the future, Su Yi couldn't help but feel excited. Handsome and charming. Seems like a good idea. So let's call you Little Handsome, Su. But why should my surname be Su? I'm a phoenix. The little bird seemed to be very satisfied with the name Little Handsome Su. It couldn't help but raise its head and increase its confidence. Because I'll be your big brother in the future. My surname is Su, and your surname is Su, so you'll be called Little Handsome Su. Su, he said to the little bird seriously. Chapter 631. What a cunning human. At this moment, no one knew what Ling Qianxue, who was in Su Yi's body, was feeling. A supreme being's cub of the demon race, a phoenix that was rumored to have been buried in the river of time, was actually tricked by a human with such flowery words, forming a heavenly demon soul contract, tricking him into joining the Su family, and even calling him brother. If the great demons of the demon clan knew about this, they would probably come out in anger and chase this kid to the ends of the earth to tear him into pieces. Looking at handsome Sue in front of him, he couldn't calm his excitement for a long time. This was definitely a stroke of luck, and his luck had exploded to the extreme. Thinking about having a phoenix by his side in the future, once handsome Sue grew up, he would be able to do whatever he wanted in the world. The corner of Su Yi's mouth rose, and he couldn't help but smile. With such great luck, he would probably wake up laughing in his dreams. Don't be happy too early. Once the identity of this phoenix cub is exposed, not to mention the demon clan, I'm afraid all the humans won't let you go. Ling Chinchua warned Su Yi. If the news of a phoenix cub was leaked, the consequences could be imagined. Any force would fight for it. That's true. Yes, Starter X Su Yi understood in his heart that although he had formed a heavenly demon soul contract with Handsome Su, if the news of Handsome Su were to spread, the result would be the same. No force in the world would let him go. A true divine bird like the phoenix will be able to move unhindered in this world. It would be the supreme ruler of the demon race. But Handsome Su was still a chick that had just broken out of its shell. That was different. It was enough to make any expert in the world want to get their hands on him. After thinking about it, He was very clear that he couldn't let Handsome Su appear for the time being. Once he was recognized, the consequences would be serious. How are you? He asked Ling Chinchua. Recently, he had been cultivating in this mysterious space, and he didn't know how Ling Chinchua had recovered. Although he already trusted Ling Chinchua, he had to trust her. However, with Ling Chinchua in his body, he still felt a little uneasy in his heart. He always felt that he did not feel that safe. If I want to be reborn completely, I'm afraid I won't be able to do it in a short period of time. However, this place is extremely beneficial to me, Ling Chinchua said to Yi. That's good. I hope he can be reborn soon. Yi said with absolute sincerity. After all, Ling Chinchua had exploded her monster core to save him and Su Tianke. At the thought of Su Tianke, Yi began to worry again. He didn't know if Su Tianke was dead or alive. If he was alive, Su Tianke should be fine as well. But where was he? You wish for me to be reborn and recover. It's because I'm in your body. You're still worried, aren't you? Ling Chinchua said indifferently. It was as though she could see right through Yi. I really didn't mean that. We've once walked hand in hand, weathered difficulties together, fought side by side. We're friends of life and death. I absolutely trust you. Yi raised his eyebrows and said seriously to Ling Chinchua. Who's walking hand in hand with you? Friends of life and death. Cunning and glib-tongued. Are these the common traits of you humans? Ling Chinchua said indifferently. Heaven and earth can be my witness. I'm absolutely sincere. Yi patted his chest and guaranteed. Back then in the barbaric demon forest, he was indeed friends of life and death with Ling Chinchua. They had walked hand in hand. All right, there seems to be a problem with this space. What's going on? Ling Chinchua asked Yi. This space was originally filled with energy, but now it was not as good as before. Looking at little handsome Su in front of him, he had mixed feelings. The birth of this little guy had not only exhausted all the energy in this mysterious space. Most importantly, it had also exhausted all the spiritual liquid in the spiritual liquid pool. Just thinking about it made his heart ache. However, seeing that little handsome Su was the divine bird's cub, Yi's heartache lessened by quite a bit. In comparison, it was definitely worth it. It'll recover when the time comes, but I'm afraid it'll be a little troublesome. Yi said, with his cultivation at 9th level origin spirit realm, the area of this mysterious space had expanded by quite a bit. If he wanted to restore the energy to its original state, who knew how many yuan stones he would have to spend? When the time came, he could only think of other ways. At this moment, the mysterious space was lacking in energy. There was no need to stay in this space. Although Yi did not want the news of him returning to Barbaric City to be exposed. However, Yi was still thinking about Wan and Fatty Wong. He planned to meet them secretly. After packing up, Sui planned to leave the mysterious space. He also specially reminded little handsome Su to not have any ideas about the blood jade spirit ginseng. When he returned, he would definitely ask the blood jade spirit ginseng to give him another spirit feeler to taste. After giving some instructions, he even asked the Xianyang golden demon falcon and wolf bat to look after little handsome Su. Only then did Su-yi leave the mysterious space. Walking out of the mysterious space, Su-yi immediately frowned. He heard the roar of a beast from afar. The ground shook and a terrifying aura filled the entire barbaric city. Young Master Su-yi, bad news. A great enemy is invading. Everyone in the Su family has gone to fight. When Su-yi pushed open the door and walked out, the old servant's face was filled with panic and solemnity. Hearing this, Su-yi's face changed drastically. Rumble. The barbaric city was in chaos. The earth shook and the mountains shook. Buildings collapsed one after another. The ground cracked open, revealing ravines. The undying sect's disciples and the barbaric beast army clashed with the barbaric city's disciples. Awu, Guji, bang, 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 save me, fight to the end, kill. The demonic beasts roared, and the muffled sound of energy spread out. Screams, shouts, everything intertwined together, as if it was a symphony from hell. Shocking, murderous aura filled the sky and dyed the barbaric city red. Ruashi, quickly retreat. A portion of the barbaric city must stay behind to take revenge for today. The city lord Lu Zongyuan shouted. His robe was dyed in blood as he pounced towards the undying sex experts. The remaining experts of the Lu family also followed closely behind. Everyone fought with their lives on the line and did not retreat at all. Lu Zongyuan did not let Lu Ruashi leave for selfish reasons. It could be seen that even if Old Man Su was here today, the barbaric city would not be able to escape this calamity. If there was a day where there was a chance to take revenge for today, it would naturally be his daughter Lu Ruashi. No matter if it was her talent, potential, or the sacred mountain behind her, there was no need to doubt this. Father, be careful. Your daughter and the barbaric city will live and die together. Lu Ruashi's hair was disheveled. Her red robe was already dyed in blood. Her long hair fluttered, and her body seemed to be enveloped by a blazing flame. The two blades in her hands constantly emitted terrifying blade light. Chapter 632. A few Saint Mountain disciples intended to protect Lu Ruashi, but they were forcefully separated and blocked by the undying sex experts and barbaric beasts. Some were heavily injured, some were killed, and the remaining few could not even protect themselves. Undying sect, my Saint Mountain will definitely massacre you. Deacon Wang shouted angrily, his face pale. Zhu Ba did not continue to chase after him, but before he could stabilize his body, he was targeted by a demon void stage barbaric beast expert. There was a bloody battle everywhere. Everywhere was dyed red with blood, and blood flowed like a river. Weapons clashed, cold light overflowed, and killing intent filled the sky. Shrill screams, the prayers of the elderly, and the cries of young children intertwined, lingering in the air. Fight! Su Yuntian shouted. His aura of the third level of the Origin Void stage exploded to the extreme. Origin energy rumbled in his body as he fought with the three undying sex Origin Void stage experts. The old man was not ordinary, fighting one against three, and at the beginning he was evenly matched. But after a dozen moves, the three undying sex Origin Void stage experts had a tacit understanding, and under their joint attack, the old man began to be suppressed. In the end, he was stretched thin, and it became more and more difficult. Awu, the three Origin Void stage experts' origin energy formed beast shadows, and their attacks were fierce and vicious. Su Yuntian's expression was solemn, and he used all his strength to shake the space, directly shattering the two Origin energy shadows in front of him. turning them into origin energy that covered the sky and earth and scattered in all directions. Pooh! But an attack also took the opportunity to land on the old man's shoulder, causing him to stagger and spit out a small mouthful of blood. Looks like it's not the same as before. In the distance, Zhu Ba-yi sneered, and his fear was greatly reduced. He waved his hand, and his voice resounded through the sky. Kill! Massacre barbarian city! Kill! Awu! The undying sect's disciples and the barbaric beast army roared and killed. Fight to the end, fight with them. Killing one is enough. Killing two is enough. Kill one, kill. The barbarian city's disciples roared as they watched their relatives and brothers fall one by one. The pain in their hearts was unbearable, and they used all their strength to fight with their lives. Brothers, kill! Su Baihan shouted. His body was already stained with blood. His robe was in tatters, and there were many wounds on his body. A murderous aura spread out from his body, and a faint, dark red light appeared on his body, adding to his murderous aura. Chi! Su Baihan's eyes were bloodshot as he dashed out once again. There was a huge ring blade in his hand. Blood dripped down from the blade, emitting a cold light. He chopped down with his blade. An undying martial school's disciple raised his blade to block the attack. The golden blade was ear-piercing, and sparks flew everywhere. The disciple was directly pushed back. His arm was numb, and his eyes were filled with fear. A mere profound origin realm cultivator. You're courting death. A cold shout was heard, accompanied by the appearance of a huge beast in the air. A ferocious and ruthless aura enveloped the area. Aoo! The howl of a wolf was deafening. It was 1/2 meter tall and 3 meters long. It had a pair of wings on its back. Its body was covered with dark red meat armor. Its mouth was wide open, and its tongue was covered with countless blood-colored barbs. The aura of a 9th-level demon spirit realm expert was spreading out. Riding on its back was a middle-aged expert of the Undying Sect, who looked to be in his 40s. His eyes were cold and filled with killing intent. Whoosh! The wolf swooped down, and several barbarian cities' disciples were crushed into a bloody mist. Miserable shrieks were heard. The ferocious wolf stared at Su Baihan. It flapped its wings and swooped down. A sharp claw stretched out, and there was a blood-red light lingering on the sharp claw. It was suffused with a frightening bloody aura. I'm going to fight you, Su Baihan shouted. He raised the huge ring blade in his hand and poured all of his yuan qi into it. He was already going all out, and with the momentum of splitting a mountain, he fiercely chopped down at the wolf's claw. This was a sure kill move. Facing a demonic illusory realm ferocious wolf, or even a peak demonic illusory realm expert, Su Baihan knew what the result would be. There was no way to avoid it, so he had to fight with his life on the line. K. First strike, second strike, second strike, second strike. Feeling the aura of the former's blade, the wolf's eyes were bloodshot, but it didn't care about it at all. The wolf's sharp claws glowed with a blood-red light. It rushed forward like a series of afterimages. Every claw attack directly weakened the saber light on Su Baihan's broadsword. Finally, the claw attack landed on the cold light of the broadsword. Ka-ka! The incomparably sharp, huge blade chopped down with the momentum of splitting a mountain. But at this moment, it was blocked by the ferocious wolf's huge, sharp claw. In an instant, it was twisted and cracked like a fried dough twist. In my next life, I will be strong and kill you all. Under the terrifying aura, Su Baihan felt a chill in his heart. He could feel the aura of death. He hated that he wasn't strong enough to be a match for these strong enemies. He shouted in grief and anger. Captain, a Su family guard shouted, but he couldn't do anything to stop it. The huge blade in his hand was twisted and shattered. Su Baihan was sad and angry, and his arm was numb and bleeding. The terrifying aura had already entered Su Baihan's body, but other than closing his eyes and waiting for death, there was nothing else he could do. Chi, right at this moment, under the numerous astonished gazes from the surroundings, a sharp sound of wind being torn apart abruptly resounded from the horizon at the instant the wolf's sharp claws were about to crush Su Baihan's palm. It arrived abruptly and swiftly like a bolt of lightning. The sound of wind breaking resounded with a whining sound, as if it was wrapped in a red light. In the end, as if it had grown eyes, it directly hit the ferocious wolf's sharp claw. At this moment, whether it was the ferocious wolf or the Yuan Zhun stage middle-aged man of the undying sect, their faces changed greatly. But everything was too sudden, and there was no way to stop it. Chi-la, with a muffled sound, the ferocious wolf's sharp claw was directly broken. The red light object flew past and stabbed into the ground. "Ello!" The ferocious wolf screamed and roared. Blood from the broken claw sprayed all over Su Baihan's body. Its body directly lay on the ground and heavily smashed into the ground, causing sand and stones to fly. The Yuan Zhun stage middle-aged man of the undying sect also staggered and fell from the ferocious wolf's back. He retreated in a sorry state and was almost crushed by the ferocious wolf. All of this happened too suddenly, and everyone was somewhat stunned. Su Baihan had already closed his eyes and waited for death. At the last moment of despair, he suddenly looked at the red light object that had just appeared with a face of astonishment. It was a sword-like object wrapped in sackcloth. At this moment, it was stained with blood and stabbed into the ground. His eyes fiercely stared, and Su Baihan suddenly raised his eyes to look at the sky. His heart trembled again. There was an even more frightening, murderous aura that shrouded over. Ello! A huge monster spread its wings and flew over. Its ferocious body flickered with a dark red light. Its pair of blood-red eyes seemed to be overflowing with blood. Its ferocious, bloody mouth was ferocious, and the sound wave like a wolf's howl soared into the sky. It was accompanied by the rolling blood mist, like a monstrous wave. On top of the ferocious monster, a blue-robed figure stood. His figure was thin and straight, and his black hair was draped over his shoulders. The strange thing was that his face was wrapped in a black cloth, and only his eyes and forehead were exposed. The ferocious monster swooped down, and its aura was many times more ferocious than the ferocious wolf. Chapter 633. Awu! The ferocious beast swooped down, and the surrounding savage beasts trembled for no reason. Their beast souls palpitated, and they were affected for no reason. Their roars and hisses were endless. Looking at the ferocious beast swooping down, Su Baihan trembled. At this moment, Su Baihan believed that this was undoubtedly an expert from the undying sect. He had just escaped a calamity because someone had helped him. But now, it seemed that he would not be able to escape this calamity. Awu! The savage wolf howled in agony. Its huge claws were directly destroyed. Its body struggled to stand up. Looking at the ferocious beast swooping down, its beast's soul was terrified. Chi! From the ferocious beast, the blue-robed figure jumped down. Yuan Chi surged under his feet, and his body brought about a vortex of fluctuation. He stepped out and landed on the savage wolf's head. The savage wolf howled as if it wanted to dodge, but for some reason, its eyes were filled with fear. Its body trembled as if it had gone soft. Bang! In the next moment, under many stunned gazes, the savage wolf's head was crushed. Its body flipped over on the ground, and it was killed on the spot. Beast blood spurted out, splattering all over the ground. Su Baihan's heartbeat quickened, and his hair stood on end. He could not help but shiver. It's an expert who came to help us. Those shocked gazes could not help but twitch. It turned out that this mysterious person was not an expert from the undying sect, but an expert who came to help them. Thank you, sir. Su Baihan was, after all, a person who had been honed in blood all year round. He quickly regained his senses and thanked the mysterious expert who had helped him. It seemed that the person who had helped him was the mysterious expert who rode the savage beast. Su Baihan was secretly puzzled. There seemed to be no such person in the barbarian city. At this moment, the mysterious blue-robed figure with a veil covering his face was undoubtedly Su Yi. Originally, Su Yi did not want to expose his identity. But when he saw the bloody battle in the barbarian city, he could not stand by and do nothing. He was a disciple of the Sioux family, a member of the barbarian city. In this life, he had grown up in the barbarian city. This was an unchangeable fact. With a veil covering his face, he summoned the wolf bat and rushed over. He happened to see Su-Baihan in danger. "Take the pill." He tossed a medicinal pill over to Su-Baihan. His gaze swept over the surroundings, and a scarlet light suddenly appeared in his eyes. There were screams everywhere, and blood flowed like a river. There were corpses everywhere. Sabers, spears, swords, and halberds clashed with one another, causing sparks to fly everywhere. Chi-la-la. The sharp sound of the sharp blade slicing through the body was accompanied by the muffled sounds of energy colliding, causing one's hair to stand on end. It was incomparably bloody. Shrill screams filled the air. Bright red blood splattered everywhere, making this place look like hell. Staring at the scene before his eyes, he saw the disciples of the barbarian city falling down one after another. Among them, there were even disciples of the Sioux clan. His grandfather was also surrounded by 3 experts in the air. Many familiar faces were now covered in blood in a sorry state. "Bastard! Wolf bat! Kill the invaders! Kill them all! Show no mercy!" Su-Yi was enraged, and his eyes immediately turned blood red. AOO 9Y. Look at Rising X, Chapter 6. Section 3% above /X_. The wolf howled, and a sharp cry pierced through the clouds. The wolf-headed demonic bat roared furiously. Behind the wolf-headed demonic bat, there was a golden light as bright as the sun. A ferocious bird with a wingspan of dozens of feet flew out. The golden feathers on the surface of its body were like a golden sun, dazzling and sharp. This was the Xianyang golden demonic falcon. Su-Yi summoned it together with the wolf bat. The Xianyang golden demonic falcon swooped down like a sun, accompanied by a sharp and ferocious aura. The Xianyang golden demonic falcon was not an ordinary barbaric beast. Its bloodline was comparable to the barbaric heavenly leopard. After being in the mysterious space for so long, the Xianyang golden demonic falcon had already undergone a metamorphosis. The aura on its body was definitely stronger than the aura of an ordinary demonic beast. "Gee!" The Xianyang golden demonic falcon screeched. Its sharp eyes shone with a frightening light. It was easy to identify the invaders. It immediately spread its wings and attacked. Wherever it passed, the army of barbaric beasts below trembled. Their souls were throbbing, and they were suppressed for no reason. "Roar!" The wolf bat let out a ferocious roar as it flapped its wings. Blood-colored mist filled the air, and its aura was terrifying. The bloody mist roiled like a monstrous wave, and it carried a surging, baleful aura as it spread out in a manner that could topple mountains and overturn seas. The wolf bat had already stepped into the true demon realm. Its aura was even more powerful than the Xianyang golden demonic falcon. The bloody mist rolled down and emitted light. When the wolf-headed demonic bat attacked, its baleful aura drowned everything. It devoured the life force and affected the soul. Roar! The army of barbaric beasts was suddenly affected by the wolf bat and the Xianyang golden demonic falcon. In an instant, a few huge barbaric beasts fell under the attack of the Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf bat. When the Xianyang golden demonic falcon and the wolf bat appeared, the Green Emperor seemed to have sensed something. His eyes suddenly moved, and light began to surge out from his eyes. Acting so mysteriously, "You're courting death by killing my barbaric beasts." After a short moment of shock, the middle-aged man from the Undying sect, who had just landed on the back of the wolf, regained his senses. He looked at Su-Yi with a cold gaze. Boom! Vigorous Yuan energy gushed out from the middle-aged, Undying sect practitioner's body. The aura of a level 1 Yuan Jin stage practitioner was not held back at all. A bizarre and cold Yuan energy that carried a sinister aura, like ice, directly caused some frost mist to appear in the air. Swish! The middle-aged man from the Undying sect immediately attacked. He shook his arm, and his broad palm bent, forming a claw. His fingertips were sharp and cold. He stomped his foot on the ground, and his figure was like an afterimage as he pounced towards Su-yi. The claw was raised high, and it was swung towards Su-yi. Woo-woo! The claw created a woo-woo sound in the air, as if it was going to tear the air apart. Yuan Jun Realm Expert. The disciples of the Su family and Su Baihan, who had not regained their senses, felt the terrifying aura. They could not help but feel their hearts in their throats for Su-yi. This was a Yuan Jun Realm Expert. In the entire barbarian city, Yuan Jun Realm cultivators were already the most powerful cultivators. The claw tore through the air, and with a woo-woo sound, it arrived in front of Su-yi in an instant. At this moment, a red light flashed across Su-yi's eyes. He took a step to the side, and his body formed a strange arc swish. Immediately, the terrifying claw of the middle-aged man pierced through Su-yi's neck. The cold and sharp wind caused Su-yi's hair to flutter. Chapter 634. They were all people who lived in the barbarian demon forest, and each of them had been tempered by blood. The fact that this undying sect expert was able to reach the Yuan Jun stage proved that he was a ruthless character and not an ordinary person. The undying sect expert immediately reacted, and an even more sinister glint flashed across his eyes. His claw shook and immediately spun around. The claw that was like the edge of a blade directly grabbed towards Su-yi's throat. Su-yi took a step forward. The red light in his eyes did not reveal anything. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. His left arm shook, clenched into a fist, and suddenly blasted out, directly colliding with the former's claw. When the two collided, Su-yi shook his arm, and no longer held back his aura of the 9th level of Yuan Spirit Stage. Black Earth attribute Yuan Qi surged, and as his fist retracted and pushed out, a terrifying wave of Qi instantly rushed out. This was the Seven Wounds Fist. Bang! Under the dull sound, the undying sect expert's expression changed quite a bit. Shock flooded his face, and he said, 9th level of Yuan Spirit Stage. How can he be so strong? At the same time, the undying sect's level 1 Yuan Jun stage expert's feet brushed against the ground, causing the ground around his feet to crack. At this moment, only the middle-aged man himself knew that his Yuan Qi was on the verge of collapsing from the impact of this guy at the 9th level of Yuan Spirit Stage. If he was just a little bit weaker, he wouldn't have been able to withstand this heavy impact. Percent 3 look authentic. Part H, Part Q smiley face, Kiki, a little strange, but you're only at the Yuan Spirit Stage. The one who will die will still be you. But very quickly, the middle-aged man from the undying sect suppressed the collapsing Yuan Qi in his body. The claw print clenched tightly on Su-yi's fist, refusing to let go. After all, the opponent was only at the Origin Spirit Stage. No matter what, it was impossible for him to cross the Yuan Jun stage. A sharp cold light once again gushed out, tightly covering Su-yi's fist. Die! At the same time, a killing intent suddenly surged out from Su-yi's scarlet eyes. With a loud roar, his right hand had already grasped the broken sword that was stuck in the ground. Using the sword as a staff, he fiercely pulled it out. Boom! At this moment, the Black Earth attribute Yuan Qi on Su-yi's body suddenly changed. Red light gushed out from his body, and his blue robe flapped loudly. With Su-yi as the center, cracks suddenly spread out on the ground. His aura was domineering, destructive, and incomparably arrogant. You were holding back. You tricked me. At this moment, the middle-aged man from the undying sect seemed to have sensed something, and his face was suddenly filled with shock. From Su-yi's fist, he felt an incomparably domineering aura of destruction that wanted to destroy everything in his body. Bang! A muffled sound reverberated at the same time. Su-yi used the sword as a stick. He ruthlessly pulled out his right hand and heavily pounded on the waist of that middle-aged man from the undying sect. At this moment, this broken sword weighed at least 2,000 to 3,000 pounds. coupled with Su Yi's full strength. One could imagine the strength behind it. The middle-aged man from the undying sect spat out a mouthful of blood. Everything in his body was shattered. His body was sent flying for dozens of zhong before crashing onto the ground. He was deader than dead. A level 1 Yuan Jun realm martial artist was killed in such a way it made people's eyeballs twitch. Everyone could see that the mysterious expert's attack was very strange. It carried a bit of ruthlessness, but it was clean and neat. The real killing move was on the sword that was wrapped around the strip of cloth in his right hand. It killed the Undying Sect's first-level Yuan Jun realm expert in one move. Oh, killing a Yuan Jun realm martial artist did shock some people, but it did not change anything. The bloody battle continued. There was chaos everywhere. There were massacres and bloody battles everywhere. Oh, beasts roared and ferocious birds screeched. The entire barbarian city was dyed in blood. Roar. A ferocious beast roared like thunder. Its entire body was covered in red flames. Everywhere it went, it was wrapped in flames. It rushed into the barbarian city disciples and trampled on everything. Oh, a beast with the body of a wolf, beast, and leopard. Its body was covered in dense scales and emitted a bloody light. Its bloody mouth was wide open with sharp fangs. Everywhere it went, it tore apart several barbarian city disciples, leaving behind only broken bones and bloodstains. No, some people were frightened. It was too bloody. The Undying Sect disciples were still fine. They could fight with their lives on the line. However, when faced with this army of barbaric beasts, it was enough to make them tremble in fear. The army of barbaric beasts was killing everything. They were ruthless and fierce. No one could stop them. In fact, some of the barbaric beasts were blocked. Some of the stronger disciples from the major clans tried to stop some of the barbaric beasts and ferocious birds, but they could not even protect themselves. They could only use their lives to stop the beasts. Ah, Father, Mother, help! Who can save my mother? Oh, God, who can save the barbarian city? We are aloof from worldly affairs. We have never done anything that offends the heavens. Shouts, screams, wails, cries for help, screams of fear, the cries of children, and the prayers of the elderly were intertwined into a song of hell. It made people's hair stand on end. Kill! He was completely enraged. Looking at the bloody scene and the pungent smell of blood in the air, his eyes were filled with anger and killing intent. Kill! He made his move. Scarlet light flickered around his body. Holding the broken sword in his hand, he used the heavy sword as a staff. Wherever he passed, the barbaric beasts would tremble. They were affected for no reason and were directly flipped over and killed. Oh, the unstoppable army of savage beasts was swept away by Su Yi's unstoppable force. The ferocious barbaric beasts were like fish on a chopping board in front of Su Yi. They were all killed instantly. Oh, screech. On top of Su Yi's head, the wolf bat and Xianyang golden demon falcon roared. They spread their wings and killed all the ferocious birds. At this moment, 2 beasts and 1 man swept through everything in their path. The 3 terrifying auras caused the army of barbaric beasts to panic and retreat continuously. Kill! A demon spirit realm barbaric beast was smashed into meat paste by Su Yi's punch. Bam! A 9th-level demon spirit realm barbaric beast was sent flying by Su Yi's broken sword. An Undying Sect disciple fell from the back of this barbaric beast. He was kicked into a bloody mess by Su Yi's kick. Su Yi's killing intent soared to the sky and couldn't be suppressed. Watching the barbarian city's people and disciples being massacred, Su Yi's killing intent was completely ignited. He started a massacre. The barbarian city's disciples were weak. In front of the army of barbaric beasts and powerful enemies, they could only be massacred. In the midst of the massacre, Su Yi saw familiar figures falling from the corner of his eyes. He couldn't stop them. This was the first time he felt how important strength was. Kill! Su Yi roared and attacked with all his might. Oh, screech. The wolf bat and Xianyang golden demon falcon spread their wings and soared into the sky above Su Yi's head. Compared to the army of barbaric beasts and the undying sect, this combination was much more ferocious. The two beasts and one human charged into the unstoppable army of barbaric beasts. They swept through everything and immediately attracted the attention of all the experts in the barbarian city. Su Yuntian was the first to notice. He saw everything from the corner of his eyes, and his eyes lit up. Looking at the wolf-headed demon bat and Xianyang golden demon falcon, only Old Master Su Yuntian knew that the mysterious newcomer was his grandson, Su Yi. Ha ha ha, kill. The old man laughed out loud as he watched his grandson make his move. His actions were so bold, so invincible, and so domineering. His heart was filled with pride and heroism. Continue the battle. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.